Hello, everybody. Welcome one and all to the latest episode of the Xbox 2. I'm one of your hosts, Randall Thor19, the man with the million, and as always, we're joined by Mr. Jesimus Cordimus of Windows Central. Here, back-to-back weeks, no longer on vacation in Japan, because if he was, I'm sure Xbox would have probably had some negative news today. It is Friday after all, and what do you know? We do have some not I wouldn't say breaking news, but
it's pretty timely.
Timely, yes.
Timely Friday bad news. We all know Friday's the day. If you got bad news, drop it on Friday.
But I don't understand in the world of, everything's connected 24/7, the whole idea of dropping bad news so it gets buried for the weekend, that doesn't exist anymore. Like, maybe you could have gotten it would, maybe like back in the 90s or 80s or 70s, you could have done that because, like, okay, well, nobody's paying attention on the weekends or what have you.
The journalists are going home early
but
on Friday.
In this age of like literally everybody's online, it like what day it is doesn't matter. I mean, I guess you can make the argument like, well, doesn't affect the stock market or something like that because the markets are closed on the weekends, right? I'm pretty sure. So it's like, well, maybe that, but it's kind of like that shit don't work no more. So it's like, we're gonna wait till Friday to drop this bad news, and then everybody still talks about it anyways.
I don't know. It's probably some like old kind of rule from back in the day that's probably not relevant anymore. But anyways, it does seem to be a thing that Friday's a day for bad news for whatever reason. But
yes. And we just happen to run the show on a Friday. So we're always like, all right, we got something to talk about, something to sink our teeth into, as they say.
Yes, indeed.
But how you doing, man? How's the week been? How's it being back home? And where are you? Germany this week? England this week?
No, I'm in Germany now.
So how's it feel to be back in Germany after spending a little bit of time in Japan? Do you wish you were just back in Japan?
I will say this: like usually when I travel places, I'm kind of like, oh, I'm so glad to be home, and I get to chill. I got all my stuff here, all my creature comforts or whatever. But Japan was amazing.
Yeah,
it was so good. I actually miss it. Like everyone's there is just so polite, man.
Are you saying Germans aren't polite? Is that what you're implying here?
I'm saying Westerners ain't polite. Man.
Westerners, okay. So this is the East versus West thing. Okay, gotcha.
Well, I think it's just the Japan thing, really. I mean, I haven't heard I haven't heard every country in the East like that, but it's just really nice. It was just awesome. I loved it there. It was just really great time, great food, great things to do, great atmosphere, so super clean. It was just great. Just really had a great time. But no, I am glad to be back for a couple of reasons. World of Warcraft expansion. Yay, boy!
Boo!
Yeah. So there's that. Even though I did give it 7 out of 10 in my review.
Yay!
Because it is buggy. It's a buggy one, bro.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like I don't want to I can't gloss over all these bugs, man. Like as good as aspects of it are, it's the least polished expansion I think for a long time. So Blizzard rushing a bit. They should slow down, I think. But it's a live service era. Everything has to be go, FOMO. Get everything out as fast as possible. All gas, no brakes, right? As Jacob Fatu would say. But yeah, it is what it is. I'm still enjoying it. I'm still having a great time. So there's that. Also, getting back to work, I had 500 unread emails I had to go through, which I finally finished going through them as of yesterday. But I'm really behind with a lot of corporate kind of stuff that I have to do as part of my job that isn't necessarily directly related to writing articles, which is really annoying because I was hired to write articles, but now I do a lot of corpo annoying shit like meetings and spreadsheets and whatever. So I'm behind on all of that. So I kind of feel like I need a vacation from my vacation
Jesus,
to
you need
recover.
another vacation.
I need another vacation.
Just
Yeah, there's
how
I've
about
got
a
too much work.
staycation this time?
Yeah, I think next time I have vacation, it's gonna be a staycation.
Because
I'll do a
anytime
stay.
you do go somewhere, stuff happens. The industry is like, all right, quick, Jess Corden's not at home. Release the hounds, release the news, and
Release the
it's like, oh
hounds.
crap.
Yeah, it is what it is.
It
It's
is
it's
it
it's
is
kind of
what
like it's a good problem to have. I'd rather be on vacation and some news drop than there be no news. And I did write a couple of pieces while I was out there. I got uh I got the Satya Nadella transcript while I was in
yes, you
Japan.
did.
So I was like, I'll put that together, in the hotel room, which was cool. And I also got their statement on Fallout first in Japan, which I don't know if you're aware of this, Rand, but for some reason, Fallout 76's subscription service was just turned off specifically in Japan in December. Specifically in
Odd.
Japan.
It's odd.
Yeah, it is odd. And I was trying to figure out why that was, for the Japanese Xbox and just for Xbox, by the way. So it was turned off just for Xbox. It was still available on PlayStation and PC, but not on Xbox in Japan. So I had to sort of I was trying to figure out why that was. And I'm still not sure why, but Microsoft at least gave me a statement saying that yeah, it's gonna come back in a few weeks or whatever.
But didn't you
So
just put out an article today, right? With that you got
I did.
some clarification. Let's talk about that real quickly. What do you think?
Let's talk about that. Yeah, sure, let's do it.
So people were wondering. Well, I think people first noticed it at GDC where the branding. This is an Xbox. The very divisive ad campaign. There were a lot of people that liked it. That kind of made people think. There are a lot of think pieces on YouTube and elsewhere about, hey, why the ad campaign was great because it's making you actually think about Xbox and where you can play. Like, oh, I can play on my phone and I can play on my PC and all these sort of things. It kind of encapsulated Xbox Play Anywhere to a certain extent.
Hmm.
Maybe speaking to more of the modern gamer, quote unquote, where kids they don't care about your console war. They don't care about any of this stuff. They just want to play wherever their iPads are and stuff. So it was basically it was a way to kind of speak to them about, hey, Xbox is everywhere, right? Like whatever device you have, you can play these games on it. The detractors would say, well, it's not really an Xbox because you can't play all your Xbox games, and that you're basically telling people you don't need to buy an Xbox console and all that other sort of stuff. And it's kind of, all those sort of things that we've talked at length about. Like, I don't think me and you were fans of the ad campaign at all,
No,
really. And it's just I don't like this. I mean, I get what they're trying to do, but I thought it was done very poorly. And then the ad campaign disappeared right around GDC, right around the time that Asha came in and replaced Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond left the company and stuff. And people were wondering why. And you got the scoop directly from Microsoft on that, yeah?
I did. Yeah, I mean, I think there was some reports out there that Asher had killed it, but I didn't want to say Asher had killed it unless it was absolutely true. Because maybe they'd planned to kill it beforehand, but Microsoft was like, no, it was Asher, and I don't have the quote straight in front of me. I don't know if you do, but
I don't have the quote
to
straight in front of
paraphrase,
me.
yeah,
It's
to
your
paraphrase,
article. You should.
I should have done right, but I didn't know you were going to talk about it so soon.
I mean,
But
why not? You brought up
yeah, I mean, why
Asha,
not?
so I figured why not segue right into this?
Why not just slap it straight in there? But yeah, they said Asher decided to end the campaign because, and this part's a quote, it didn't feel like Xbox.
Hmm.
That's what Microsoft spokesperson
Didn't
told me.
feel like
Didn't
Xbox.
feel like
What
Xbox.
does an Xbox
Um,
feel like?
well, that's the interesting thing because we've got this ongoing narrative now with Asher's tenure, which is she wants to return to Xbox,
Yes,
and
yes,
now we've got
yes.
this new comment, which is
Which it
the
implies that we've
didn't
gotten away from
feel.
Xbox, and now that she
Mhm,
canceled an ad campaign that didn't feel like Xbox.
indeed.
So
And furthermore, the quote goes on to say, she is personally
ooh,
leading a reset of how
personally.
the brand shows up.
Hmm.
So they're basically creating a new ad campaign for the current state of Xbox, I suppose. Would presume that I would hope that they've got something up their sleeves in the near term because Helix is still quite a ways away, I would have
A
thought.
little bit away,
But
yeah.
I still yeah, it's a
I
little bit
mean,
away.
end of next
But
year is a lengthy time, lengthy boy, but it'll be here before you
it's a
know it.
lengthy boy. It will be here before you know it. And I kind of feel like if you are gonna, if Asher is gonna put a mark on it and sort of be like, well, we need something that really explains what today's Xbox is without kind of alienating what we've already got and our existing audience. Because it is true that Xbox is more than just a console now. I think the big issue they've got is how do we how do we explain that in a way that doesn't alienate existing users, but also actually sounds remotely compelling because you've got cloud in there, you've got handhelds in there, you've got TVs, Fire Stick, and PC, and whatever. You've got like multiple endpoints the way you can access Xbox now. For me, I don't think they should even try to sell that as a selling point because I think the amount of people who are willing to play games on their phone and Xbox on the TV via cloud, I don't necessarily think those users overlap in a huge way. You know, if you want to have that overlap, you can market to them on the Xbox. I would have thought. I would think like if you are looking beyond that user base, you have to make market that's specifically tailored for them. You know, rather than like try and divert the console audience away from that kind of universe. I would have thought. I think like there would have been a potential for them to find PlayStation users maybe using Xbox Cloud as a companion device, but now they put the game straight onto PlayStation. I mean, this kind of defeats the purpose, right?
Shit.
So
Yep.
Cloud, I would have thought, is a completely different audience.
Hey,
So if it's
Cloud might be getting the come up with how expensive these consoles are getting.
yeah,
People might
I've
choose
seen
to play on the cloud, considering it. It,
yep.
it's one of these things when the consoles are $500 or whatever, but when you got them approaching 700, people think a little
Yeah,
bit differently. I would be
getting close.
curious. This is interesting because like Asha came out. The first thing she said when she took over was she wants to return to Xbox, the renegade spirit and stuff. Which you know you say all the right things, and people kind of like pick it up and notice. But ooh, are things going to change? Are things going to be different? And it's interesting that like one of the first things she did was cancel the ad campaign, and then not only do we ever return to Xbox, as to her words, but that the ad campaign quote didn't feel like Xbox. And I mean, to me, that's like it's maybe I'm reading too much into it, but almost kind of like is throwing shade a bit at like maybe like previous leadership in a
The old
certain way
guard.
about because if like someone who is in a different part of the company the AI part of the company, wherever she was from, right, takes over and is telling people like this didn't feel like Xbox, but the people at Xbox who had been there for years thought it did because they greenlit it. It's like, what does that say about the disconnect between maybe how the brand is perceived, not only internally, but then also, within Microsoft as a company, and then
Mm.
outside that, but like in like through fans and how it's perceived in the marketplace where it's like to me that's kind of even more enlightening than just getting rid of it, is just being like coming out and saying that didn't feel like Xbox. Now it's like, well, what does Xbox feel like? And if Asha understand that didn't feel like, and maybe she has all the data, maybe she has focus test group stuff where it was like, we like this part about it, we didn't like this part, and when the ad campaign started, sales dropped off this much, or revenue dropped this much, or whatever. So you're looking at it, it was like, okay, clearly it didn't work, and we can just say it didn't feel like it. But then, you look at it like, well, Phil had been there for so long, and Sarah had been there, and it's like, how did they get it so wrong in
Well,
that sense?
I think. I think part of the campaign, part of the point of it was it wasn't supposed to feel like Xbox because it was
I
supposed to
guess.
be
Yeah, yeah,
targeting
yeah, I guess.
completely new users. So maybe it's less about throwing the others under the bus and more like we want again this whole sort of return to Xbox means return to the core. Maybe what she's actually saying is we want marketing that actually
So they
chases
were basically
console users.
marketing to the people that maybe had no interest in Xbox whatsoever. So that's why it didn't
Yeah,
feel
like
like
the
it, and now they're gonna do. So I'd be very curious to see whatever
Phil
marketing
talked a lot
campaign
about
they do come up
yeah.
with then.
Phil talked a lot about finding new users, and this he
Sure.
said it was like the big existential problem that
Well,
gaming had or
you're gonna
was.
really have a big time finding new users when your systems are $700 and
Oh yeah,
your
yeah.
lunch is getting eaten by Roblox, and that like Gen Alpha and all the younger generations couldn't care less about Xbox or PlayStation or anything. Yeah, I can imagine it's a big existential crisis because you have all these studios and all this money that you spent, and you look at like Call of Duty this year, as an example, maybe not the best example, but we'll just use it, down 60% from the previous years, and you're worried that, oh shit, is that just like a one-off? Is that a trend? Because if it's a trend, we're in some serious shit because we can't have that happen. And you look at all these other studios making games. Is like Gears relevant anymore? Is Fable going to hit the chord? And like Fable should, considering how successful a lot of open world RPGs are. Like Crimson Desert just came out, and I think they've announced what sold 3 million in 2 days or whatever it was. They're probably going to announce 5 million in a couple days. I'm not saying like Fable should be pulling those numbers, clearly because of Game Pass. Like a lot of people on Xbox and PC are going to play it that way. But people do love their large open world RPGs, and Fable's going to be that. So it's like, if that game doesn't hit, considering how much money and how long that game's in development, like there's some big bets that Xbox is making on a lot of their franchises and stuff, and it's I completely understand that idea of like, oh shit, where are we gonna, like, we got old gamers, Jez being old, aging out, but they're not being replaced by anybody new because
Mm.
all the younger generations couldn't care less. They're on their iPads playing Roblox, playing all the Roblox slop. They
I think
couldn't
one of the
give a shit about how great games
yeah.
look or whatever. It's like, hey, if it's on Roblox, it's great, right?
Yeah, I mean, one of the issues is, I think, dilution of just internet everything. Like a long time ago, like for a long time, it kind of felt like gaming was the new hot thing that was the thing that was growing and changing and had a lot of hype behind it. And it's still like obviously massive. It's not as if game industries suddenly completely divested of cash. I mean, it's still like a massively multi-billion-dollar industry. But this is everything in our economic system is growth driven, right? And not only growth driven, but it's also like um future growth driven. They also like look at industry trends, and investors especially look at like what's happening in the next quarter, what's happening in the quarter after that, and quarter over quarter over quarter. That's kind of like the way um these companies tend to operate. And I think Microsoft as a corporation has struggled with this concept of the fact that gaming is a hits driven business. And it's hard to explain that to investors. It's like, okay, well, we don't have a game this quarter just because that's how game development timelines work. We'll have a game for you next quarter or next year or whatever. And we often saw these. I mean, back in the day, before like we had a situation where there was like a million new games a month. There was like all reports about, oh, the game industry down like 8% this year because there was no games that came out that were resonating, kind of thing. We don't really live in that situation anymore. There's like so much to play. But then you've got a weird different problem is that there's just more competition. There's so much competition now for free time per game. And there's so many games that are just like they're forever games and people want to play them forever, like a Fortnite, like a Roblox, like a World of Warcraft, or like a Call of Duty, or like a marathon. Like when you and your friends are like really into marathon, you're probably putting other games on the back burner. And like if a game falls on the back burner for too long, you might decide not to play it at all, right? So that's another issue that's facing the game industry a lot. But I suppose like what I feel like Xbox really struggled with was navigating these problems not only from a product perspective, but also from a corporate perspective. Like I think, you know, s- explaining all this stuff to like not only the audience but internally and build a strategy around it. I really feel like Xbox struggled with some of this stuff. So it's kind of like it's on Asher to figure out a healthy path forward, I think. And the thing she said in my interview and the thing she said publicly as well and privately in the transcript to the Q&A with staff, it's like it all starts with what we've got. You know, it starts with our core audience and it starts with making sure that what we've got today is healthy. And I think that's where like the previous administration kind of got stuck. They were like, how do we navigate this stuff? And we know what's going on. We know what we've got to do, but how can we do it without sort of neglecting what we've got? And what we've seen, Rand, already in the last few weeks, we've started seeing the Xbox Series S and X get meaningful feature updates again, which is something we haven't seen for a long time. So, you know, it does feel like, and I wrote an article about this last year. I wrote an article, it was either last year or the year before. It was something like, you know, don't neglect what you've already got to, you know, chase this imaginary new audience, you know, which is kind of what this is an Xbox campaign was doing, for better or worse. Anyways, we don't know for sure what any of this is going to look like. We don't know what Ash is going to do. We don't know if Ash is going to like, you know, um, completely change everything about Xbox or go back to the way things were, or whether exclusive will come back. How much of a factor is Game Pass going to be all this? What are they going to do to Game Pass? I mean, one of the other
Mhm.
topics we got to talk about is like
Yeah,
the
we'll
supposed Game
talk about that.
Pass
We'll talk
price
about that a
increase.
little bit later. But yeah,
Yeah,
because we still got to do house cleaning and stuff. But I wanted to talk about the Ashdod because you bring up
house cleaning.
housekeeping. My bad, house cleaning. Okay, crazy.
Whose house are you
We got
cleaning?
we got to clean the house a little bit here. So
You got to clean my house. My house is dusty, man. It's so
yeah,
dusty in here.
I'll be curious to see whatever new ad campaign they do. You know, if she's personally leading it, let's see what that's all about. But anyways, welcome in
Hmm.
guys to the Xbox Two episode 403, I believe,
That
something
is
like that.
correct.
403 on this beautiful March 27th. Do us a big favor if you haven't already, hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel and share this out on social media. If you're listening to this on Spotify or iTunes, we'd appreciate like a rating, I guess, or a review if that is not too much trouble. Just give it 5 stars, or if you really hate the show, if you love to hate listen to this, I guess give it a 1. I don't know. Um, but yeah, this week's episode, Jez, we have a sponsor,
We do
Surfshark.net. Big
indeed.
deal, 86%
Indeed.
off, all the good stuff, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Tell us about it, Jez.
Indeed. Indeed. Surfshark VPN. I'm going to tell you all about it. Do you want maximum internet privacy? Consider Surfshark VPN, this week's epic podcast sponsor. Surfshark VPN is your all-in-one shield for private, effortless browsing. Whether you're streaming your favorite series, climbing the ranks in your go-to games, or just scrolling on the latest trends, Surfshark keeps you covered with lightning-fast speeds and support for unlimited devices. For true internet freedom, Surfshark breaks down digital walls with ease. No more geoblocks and no more limits. Unlock global content, explore without borders, and enjoy a smoother, cleaner web thanks to Surfshark's Clean Web feature, which blocks ads, trackers, and malware all before they can slow you down. And with a strict no logs policy, your activity stays exactly where it belongs, with you. Plus, Surfshark's advanced encryption wraps your personal data in serious protection, giving you total confidence every time you connect. So here's the offer. Xbox 2 podcast listeners get an incredible 86% off a 2-year Surfshark plan that works out to less than $2 a month. Take back your online freedom. Hit the link in the description to get started and search safely, surf securely, and surf with Surfshark. Ran, ran. That's a shark noise.
That
So
is
that
a
was doing
shark
there.
noise.
That's what that I was in Japan and I went to Okinawa's aquarium. They got a whale shark in there in the aquarium, and
A whale
I
shark. How
spoke to
big is it? I mean,
no,
isn't a whale shark? I was thinking about.
it's pretty.
It's gotta
No,
be.
no, no,
It's a
whale
pretty.
shark.
Yeah, it's
It's
a pretty big
fucking big,
shark,
man.
right? One of the biggest ones.
It's I think it's the biggest one. Yeah,
Okay,
it's
so I was
huge.
thinking, yeah.
But yeah, that is the noise it made. The whale shark. It was like rah rah, and you know, and also it endorsed Surfshark VPN. So yeah, there you go. That bit may or may not have happened. But yeah, Surfshark's really good, and do recommend it. Do check them out. Supports the show, supports you. It's a really great deal. Less than $2 a month, I think it works out. So yeah, definitely check them out.
Excellent. And we also have the wonderful members of the Patreon, patreon.com/XB2. We got the question and answer thread up for anybody that want to drop a line, ask us some questions about whatever's on your mind. Go and do that. And yeah, I know we haven't been doing Xbox 2 Ultimate recently because I think mainly because I'm still dealing with a lot of family things, which usually take place on Tuesdays. So it's difficult for me right now to do stuff on early in the week, but hopefully, I don't know, like we were talking to lawyers and stuff like that. It's just a whole mess of what's going on. So hopefully that'll be rectified soon. And I know you were on away on vacation and stuff, so we apologize for that. But you know, life stuff gets in the way. Kind of dealing with like the after effects of my mom passing away unexpectedly and all this other shit that comes up with all this other stuff, and it's just a headache, to deal with. We have the good old shout-outs here for the Xbox 2 MVPs. We have Adam Bartolo, Alarun Grogo, Army Dude 52C, Asa T and Madison, Battered Haddock, Briggs Country, Bright Tundra 1, Silas, Discarded Caboose, NX, Fantasticals, Glenn, Governor Grimm, iMike Zero, Inner Machine, Jay Foley, James Moore, James Wiseau, Justin Duel, Just James 93, K-Trax, Laserwolf, Pat Rock, Frosty, RS Donks, Sean Kramer, Shay Elephant, Shrapnel, The Nordic Cannon, Trickstar for Trey, and Wolfgang KPZ. Thank you guys for your continued support of the show.
You guys rock.
That's right. So, Jez, what do you want to talk about?
What do you want to talk about? I always think of Cody Rhodes when you say that. I'm starting saying that.
What do you want to talk about? You want to talk about
Isn't Cody Rhodes from Isn't he actually from Chicago?
No, no. I want to say he's from like Atlanta, like Georgia.
Oh.
What do you think everybody who's just in America is just from Chicago? Like are you just from Illinois? Are you around the Chicago area? No.
I mean, it's a pretty big place, isn't it, Chicago?
I mean, yeah, it's the third biggest city in the United States for sure.
Is it really? I didn't know it's that big.
I mean, it was the second for a while, but it's the third now. Well, maybe it's the fourth by now, but I'm pretty sure it's the third.
Oh. Isn't Cognito from Chicago?
No, Cognito is from New York.
Isn't Chicago and New York in the same area?
Chicago and New York are very much in the different spots. Chicago is the Midwest. Okay. New York is the East Coast. It's a good 2.5 hour, 3 hour plane ride to Chicago to New York. Back
it's all the same thing. Come on.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. You don't realize how big the United States is.
It's too big. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's too big. You know what we should do? You know what we should do with America?
What should
we should bring it back to Britain, bro. Bring it back to Britain.
Yeah, okay.
You should rejoin the United Kingdom, bro.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
Dude, come on, bro.
Let's talk about the Xbox partner preview. Why not?
Sure. Let's do it.
So I don't know if we'll go over everything that was announced there, like we normally do for showcases and stuff. I mean, I'll kind of briefly just mention some of the stuff that was there. We got a new Hunter the Reckoning game from the RoboCop Rogue City developers, Teon, which, like, isn't Hunter the Reckoning? That's like an OG Xbox game, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I have no idea.
I
admit I wasn't on the OG Xbox very much. I had like 2 games for it.
I mean, it could be cool. I mean, the RoboCop games are like, you would think the RoboCop games would be just
they're punchable that way.
Yeah. They do. They definitely do punch above their weight. So it's like, okay, cool. So now we're taking on this. Wuthering Waves finally coming to Xbox, which is a free to play action RPG. So
I
that's
can't tell you how many DMs I got about that game.
yeah, I can imagine. So is this which ones are missing now? I guess this isn't by the same people that make like ZZZ and
No, this is like this is a competitor to Hoyo versus Games, but
oh okay
I do get a lot of I do get a lot of questions about it. It's very popular. I haven't played it myself, but it's another one of them kind of gacha games, like a mobile, PC, console, and now it's coming to Xbox as well. So hopefully it proves popular with people who like playing those kind of games. But
yeah.
not one for me, and I'm pretty sure it's not one for you.
I definitely know it's not for me, but it is always one of
Yeah.
those. I do get questions about that. It's like, when is that going to come? I'm sure at some point. Now this game got a more in-depth gameplay look, and I'm excited for it. And that's The Expanse: Osiris Reborn. It's also coming to
Yeah.
Game Pass on day one, spring 2027. A lot of these games are also coming to Game Pass as
Mm.
well. What do you think about The Expanse? I mean, I know you're a big fan of the developer because they're the ones who did that
Okay. Yeah.
Warhammer game that you really liked.
Yeah. Elcat are absolutely fantastic dev. They've been known for CRPGs. So they made the Pathfinder games, and which is Pathfinder is like D&D. So they've been working on that franchise, and they've also been working on Warhammer franchise. Like I would say, like Warhammer, um, what's it called now? Rogue Trader. Rogue Trader is like kind of was my first real introduction to Warhammer lore. And God, what a way to get into it. That game is absolutely fantastic. It's a really great game. Highly recommend it. If you like CRPGs, that is. It's so many hours of gameplay. And you just there's still two more expansions coming for that game, even though they've announced a sequel to it. The Owlcat really does feel like a workhorse kind of dev. And obviously they're one thing about I will say about Rogue Trader is that it does have this sort of air of jankiness to it, right? But it feels like with the Expanse, they're really trying to like step up to the next level, both in terms of like their engine, the graphics quality, all that kind of stuff. So it's really fantastic to see, and it's going to be really intriguing to see what emerges from all of that.
Right. Grave
Oh, and
Seasons.
one more thing you should know about that game.
What should I
There
know?
are a lot of former Mass Effect
I did.
developers working
Yeah.
on the Expanse.
I mean, I love The
Yeah.
Expanse. TV shows, one of my favorite sci-fi shows of all time. I have the books, but I've yet to read them. So I am pretty excited to play this game. I know there's a beta happening somewhat soon, but the actual like final release is coming spring of next year. New Serious Sam game Shatterverse was revealed. Grave Seasons, which is a narrative farming sim, got its release date trailer. Sega revealed kind of more info about Stranger Than Heaven, which I believe is the from the studio who makes Yakuza, right?
Yes, I think that was kind of like the headline act
Yeah,
of
and then they
the
have
show.
like a new Xbox show called Xbox Presents because they basically told everybody to like tune in what May
Yeah.
for kind of a deeper dive into Stranger Than Heaven, and that's an Xbox Presents show. So now we have what we have Dev Direct, we have partner previews, we have the June showcase and Dev Direct or whatever they would call it. Now you have Xbox Presents. So that's another show, right?
Yeah, like it does seem like the team who works on the video content at Xbox has gotten quite big. So they're doing like a lot of different stuff now. And it's I suppose it's a pretty clever way to get developers on board with your stuff. It's like, yeah, we'll use our platform to promote your stuff, and it, I suppose they can use it to leverage things like Play Anywhere, because one of the things from the Xbox Partner event was most of the games, something like 80 to 90%, were Xbox Play Anywhere titles. So stuff like The Expanse, like Cat in general, has been a really huge supporter of Play Anywhere. Like Dark Heresies come into Play Anywhere, and Rogue Traders Play Anywhere. I played it a ton on my Xbox Ally, for example. So yeah, it's pretty cool to see. Gives us more to talk about too.
Yeah. Super Meat Boy 3D is releasing next week. Forever ago got re-announced. They actually call it the re-announcement trailer. Ascend to Zero was revealed. Dispatch was finally announced for Xbox. So the big 2025 hit, sleeper hit, I
Would I
guess.
like that? Would I like that, Rand?
I don't.
Is it like Life is Strange?
Parts of it, yes. So the way Dispatch is set up is that you are basically this like a dispatcher for this like superhero agency, and you have to send out. So like half the game is you sitting at a terminal on a screen, and you're clicking on events that happen, and you have to send your superheroes out.
Oh,
And then the other
like a
half,
911 call
yeah,
operator.
yeah, like a 911 call operator type thing. And then the other half of the game, yes, is your Life is Strange, where you're choosing dialogue choices or actions.
Right?
And they're blended pretty well together. So you'll have a thing where you do some Life is Strange stuff, make some choices, do some dialogue, and then you'll get down to work and you'll do, the 911 operator thing, and then you'll do some more Life is Strange stuff. It's really well done. I loved it. Like, it's like one of those games where you're not expecting much, and then you play and you're like, wow, this is incredible.
Actually, really good.
So, I mean,
I
the
had
game.
Sorry, go on.
Well, so like the people were wondering when it was going to come to Xbox. Remember, this was a game that had a lot of money issues, and they basically said we because of our resources, we're only releasing on a PS5 and PC, and it became a huge hit. And I think they just released it on Switch, and then people were wondering, well, hey, when are you going to release it on Xbox? So this summer. So it's finally going to come this summer.
Is it coming to Game Pass or Play Anywhere? I think it's
I
Play
think
Anywhere.
it's Play
Will it come to
Anywhere.
Game
I
Pass?
don't think it's Game Pass. I could be wrong
See,
on that
that
though.
sounds like the perfect travel kind of game. You're on a plane, you got some headphones. It sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah.
But
And one of your favorite developers, Rebellion, also announced one of their new games. Rebellion of Sniper Elite fame, and what was the game that came out
yeah,
last year that you really loved from them?
Atomfall.
Adamfall. Well,
Atomfall's really good. Like I'm like, Atomfall's weird because it is super janky, but there's like
got that Euro jank, huh?
it's got the Euro jank, but it's got there's like an air of brilliance about it. It's just like tantalizing. It's like, what, this franchise could become something really special with a few more iterations, and I think it will. I really do think it will. But yeah, I did see they've announced a new game. It's called, what's it called? Alien Deathstorm, I think it's called, off the top of my head.
Alien Deathstorm. They revealed trailer, so it's like, okay, that's cool. That's more up my alley. I played a bunch of the Sniper Elite games. I think I played Sniper Elite 1, 2, 3, and 4, I want to say. But then at some point, it's like, it's kind of one of those things to say. It's like, well,
Yeah,
it's like you played them
I've seen
one,
enough.
you played them all. Essentially, it's like,
Yeah.
shooting Nazis in the balls is pretty cool for quite some time, but then it's like, oh, how long am I going to do this for? So I didn't play. I didn't play Sniper Elite 5, and I didn't play the most recent one. I forget what was the name of the most recent one. Sniper Elite something. But it's just like, yeah, we've been there.
Like,
We've done that, right?
yeah, it's Sniper Elite's like, yeah, I'm kind of over it, and I think Rebellion realizes that they've done that franchise
Yeah, I
to
mean,
death, and
they also did the Zombie Army games, which are cool for what they are. But, at the end of the day, they're also sort of sniper games. But I think they realized they needed something new, so it's like, okay, we're going to do Atomfall, which I don't know how well that did for them. Now we're Alien Deathstorm, which is like, okay, that's
it
cool.
did very well.
Okay.
I think Atomfall did very well for them. Like it was a very low budget game, and it's evident from the way it plays. That game punched above its weight. And I definitely that there's going to be a sequel to Atomfall for sure. But not for everyone. It's a stalker like, and as a Brit, I really enjoyed the sort of authentic feeling English countryside kind of vibe it had. But like I say, really janky. But it's cool to see them branch out and try new things. Because Sniper Elite's fine, and like you said, but it's been kind of done to death at this point. So yeah, that should hopefully be cool.
Yeah. Frog Squad was announced. We got a new Bluey's game coming this fall to Xbox. So I'm sure
Blue.
whoever loves Bluey is probably super happy. Uh, I think this is right up your alley, but Stalker 2's first major story expansion, Cost to Hope, coming this summer.
This might be the time that I finally dive
Yeah,
into
you finally dive into
because
Stalker.
the Stalker was weird because I really feel like almost it should have launched in early access. The amount
Mm,
of updates that game has had since launch, and you know, like on a regular clip almost addressing user feedback. It's almost like it was operating in early access. Um, and when you play it now, like it's a very very different game to what we reviewed at launch. Very different game. It's a lot more polished, a lot more. I suppose there's a lot more quality of life things they've added to it. So maybe this expansion is like the time when it's like, okay, now I'm actually going to dive into this because it is quite a commitment. There's no fast travel in the game really. So it's kind of like one of them. It's a kind of game that if you're going to play it, you've got to be ready to be immersed in it and really kind of live it. Um, it asks a lot of you, I kind of feel like. So I haven't really been in the vibe, in the mood for playing something has such a high commitment bar, but maybe this summer will be the time I get in. I just want to mention, by the way, since we were talking about Dispatch, the devs confirmed that the version released on an Xbox is the uncensored version. So Nintendo Switch
yes.
famously got a censored version of the game,
Mm-hmm.
which gets rid of some of the sexy bits and censors some of the outfits, some of it inexplicably so, I think. But Switch gonna switch for whatever reason. Every platform has different rules about what is okay and
I'm
what
I'm
isn't okay on
sure
their
I'm sure
platform.
Donataku's gonna be in here in a moment to tell you how it's not Nintendo's fault for the game being censored.
Oh, but why would it be censored on Nintendo but
I'm
not
just
other?
saying. I'm sure if it wasn't Nintendo's fault, I'm sure Donataku will be in here telling you why it's not Nintendo's fault if he's listening.
Oh. Well, I don't know the ins and outs of why it was censored, but like logic would dictate if it's not censored on Xbox and not censored on PlayStation, isn't that Nintendo's fault?
I don't know.
Kind
I
of.
don't know the ins and outs of that, but I'm just saying if Nintendo's not at fault, he
Okay.
will be in here to make sure to tell you that it's not their fault.
Okay. Okay.
Uh, Musa Dirty Fate, which was a dark action game inspired by Korean history, got a reveal trailer. What else we got here? Vaunted sci-fi tactical RPG. Uh, Artificial Detective, which kind of looks pretty cool. The debut title from Studio Vivix was revealed, and my personal favorite of the show. So like my favorite like new game, I guess, or game that hasn't been out is the Expanse game because I do think that looks really cool, and I do have I love the Expanse. So like seeing that stuff, I was like, okay, yeah, that's definitely there. But
Should I watch the show before I play the game? Do you think?
I mean,
Because I haven't watched the
like with
show, I
anything, do
haven't read
you
the book.
need to watch the show? No. Do you need to read the books? No. But if you do, you probably have a deeper appreciation, and you'd understand some things about the world and the factions that normally you wouldn't, like the Belters, Mars, Earth, all those sort of things. Like watching the trailer and why they speak the way they speak, and all that sort of stuff. Like you would have an instinctual knowledge of all that stuff where like they probably have to explain it a little bit for anybody that isn't doesn't know anything about the Expanse. So I mean, I don't know,
Do they say? Do they say?
to tell someone to watch 6 seasons of a TV show just to prep for a video game is probably a bit much, you know.
Oh, is it complete
Yeah,
or are there more
well,
seasons?
so the books are complete. There's 9 books. The TV show covered 6 of the books and then they ended it. But the thing is, like, they ended it and it is complete in that sense because the 7th book, there's like a 30-year time jump. So they ended the show before the time jump. So even though there is more and the books kind of go into it, they ended the show before any of that stuff happened. So, like, you do get a complete. Like, all the sort of character arcs are completed. There might be like some outstanding questions about some other things that are answered in the books or whatever, but that aren't really pertinent to the show. But yeah, you're not. It's not one of those things where it's like, oh, there's a big cliffhanger at the end, and he's like, oh, it never gets, it's never finished. Like, no, they wrapped it up as well as they can, knowing that there are still 3 more books, but obviously they didn't want to do no time jump for characters that are a certain age. But maybe the biggest announcement, at least for me, and a surprise one at that, Hades 2 shows up here, coming to not only PlayStation and Xbox, but coming soon, April 14th, and coming to Game Pass on day 1 as well, which I thought was, even though Hades 1 did the same, I was thinking, Hades, they're bigger now. Like, Hades is super successful. Maybe they don't need that. But no, they still took the Game Pass thing. Definitely a shorter wait in between Hades 1 to Hades 2, like waiting for it on Xbox or PlayStation. I think before it was Hades 1 was like a full year.
I suppose
this
they've
one
got
was,
their pipeline in place now.
Yeah,
like
this one was shorter. So I mean, I can't wait for Hades 2. Like I really, really like Hades. And I have a feeling I'll probably really, really like Hades 2. So April 14th can't get here fast enough.
Man, I still haven't finished Hades 1. And I'm embarrassed. Like,
you haven't even beat it
really
once? Like, you haven't even beat...
No.
Okay.
I got... What was the last boss I killed? I think I've killed like 3 bosses, I think.
There's only like 3 bosses in the game.
Oh, really?
There's not many bosses.
I killed a Hydra thing.
Right.
And then died. And then I was like, fuck this.
Bro.
I don't want to start over.
The thing is, like, you unlock a lot of stuff. And, if you just play it once, I think you have a sword. You eventually unlock different weapons. And you might like some of the weapons. Like, I know I unlocked the bow and arrow, which is how I think I beat the game the first time, was with the bow and arrow. Which you wouldn't think would be that good, but... I use a
different weapon every time, so maybe I shouldn't.
The game's great, and the game, a run doesn't take that long, especially what you're doing. Like, really, I think I ended up beating Hades. I think there was like 9 times to get like the ending. I think there's something where you got to beat him 30 times, but I only did it like that 9 times. And man, I had so much fun doing that, like doing different things and stuff, and
I just suck at it. I don't know why.
It's like, weird because normally, like when people's like, "Oh, guess what? It's a roguelike," I'm always just like, "Ugh," But for whatever reason, Hades does it.
It's sexy.
It's. I don't know. I can't explain to somebody why I don't care about for roguelikes, other roguelikes, but with Hades,
story aspect. It's got like a layer of story immersion that I think a lot of roguelikes lack. I kind of feel like.
Yeah, maybe it's
like
that.
It drives you forward. Like the characters drive you forward, and every time you die, there's like some new dialogue. At least that's what I was enjoying out of it before I got like salty at it.
It's just really fun to play.
I got salty at it.
Now, I did see some discussion again about logos.
Logos, huh?
Yeah, like how Microsoft puts all the logos for all the different platforms for the games that. It's been something they've been doing since last year, and I think there were people hopeful that Asha would come in and get rid of that and basically tell them like no.
Probably too early.
Well,
if she's going to change that.
Well, I was also thinking like developers probably like it because there's like, oh well, our Expanse game's here, and also like when people watch this, they'd be like, oh, it's coming to Steam, it's coming to PlayStation, but outside of like it helping developers, it doesn't really help Xbox in the way I think of it, because it's not like PlayStation or Nintendo are doing it for you. Like there's no reciprocation. Like when PlayStation has a state of play or whatever, they're not telling everybody that this game's also coming to Xbox or Nintendo or Steam.
Yeah, and furthermore, nobody expects PlayStation.
Yeah, nobody expects Nintendo or PlayStation to do that. So it's like Xbox is helping out. See, I guess you could look at it like, well, Xbox is just doing right by the developers. And maybe it's something they had to do or whatever. And it's just like, yeah. But then it's like, but nobody's helping them back. It's like, Xbox isn't being talked about, or their logo's not showing up at the PlayStation thing or the Switch thing. So it's like, I guess you'd ask the question like, why are you doing it? You know,
I wouldn't do it.
I mean, I wouldn't do
Would
it
you do it?
either. I wouldn't do it.
I wouldn't do it.
I
No, I
absolutely.
wouldn't
If
do
they
it.
were asking for my opinion, I'd be like, I'd say drop the logos. Like if somebody's like, was this game coming to my platform? It's like, well, you have to figure it out, just like I've always figured it out. I guess you can say it's like, oh, okay, they're the kumbaya. And it's like everybody just, but I think that only really works when everybody does it. When everybody's like, all right, let's all do it together. But Xbox is the only one, and PlayStation, Nintendo are just looking at them like, fuck off. You know what I mean? Like we're not gonna do that shit. Doesn't help us in any way.
Yeah, I
So
don't think Xbox should do it. Like, why reciprocate? Like, there's no company on earth which advertises competitor products. Only Xbox that I can think of is the only company on earth I can think of that advertises their competitors' products. And I know they're trying to do right by the devs and they're trying to like do right by the whole industry all up. And maybe there's like an aspect of guilt, like, oh, we're Microsoft, we're really big, we should try and support others. And actually, it does go along with Microsoft's mission statement, which is support others to do more or whatever. So it's in line with that mission statement, but it's not very competitive. It's not very like you say, no one's reciprocating that, and nobody expects Sony or Nintendo to do that, and neither do I. Like, why should they? So for me, I would say nix that shit. But
I mean,
we'll see what
yeah,
happens.
I doubt they will. But maybe for the June showcase, I guess maybe.
I mean,
maybe
it
the
might
March
be,
one was too much already locked in with trailers and stuff, where they were just like, all right, Asha's here, and not much time to change anything. But I mean, that's a small change that I'd probably make simply because
compete, man.
it's not even so much that. It's just like it's I don't know. There's a part of me that sometimes makes it feel like you're playing a different game than everybody else, and you're trying to be altruistic, and nobody else is doing the same. So it's like, I don't know why you want to play that game.
I mean, it might be like you say, give them like really strong developer relations, and
Sure.
it shows that Microsoft, like, you could say maybe it shows confidence that Microsoft feels like it doesn't have to hide the fact that other platforms exist, because it is dumb. It's like, it is irritating when like Sony has an event and then we have to like go through and try and figure out if other companies are bringing their games to Xbox, and
Sure.
like 9 times out of 10 they are. But it's it's also whatever. It's not a big deal. But it's like I say, I wouldn't do it.
I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it either. Let me get
'Cause I'm
some.
an asshole. I'm an asshole, man.
Well, so am I. Let's get some super chats here. We got Face 23B KNY saying, "I'm happy I got my PS5 Pro day one." I'm sure a lot of people are. I'm sure a lot of people are also happy they got their PS5 or their Xboxes or whatever day one as well. It's like the only consumer device that seems to be appreciating in value as time goes on. Right?
Yeah, that's true. Or if you've got like a stick of RAM not knocking around.
Yeah, like all these things are suddenly. Because I sort of wonder, being like 6 years in the generation, essentially, if this was like any other normal gen, what would the price of the Xbox and PlayStation be?
Zero.
Like if you go and you think of the Xbox One generation or the 360, you'd be like, if the Series X was $500, would it be $400 by now? Would it be $350?
Yeah,
essentially,
usually come down
or
in
like
price, don't they?
PlayStation 5? Would it like, because like those prices come 6 years, you think, well, the price come down at least $100, but now it's like we're going up, we're going in the other direction, and it's like,
Yep.
shit. Like,
It's the death of globalism, man.
normally early adopters get screwed with higher prices and devices that don't work as well. It's almost like you're beta testing some of the software, and that somebody gets that thing later on. It's better because of it, but it's like, well, I paid, I think it was $400 for my PS5 digital. That thing's like $550 or whatever the I'd have to look, but it's like, what? I got my PS5 Pro, it was $700. Now the PS5 Pro is $900. It's like, what is going on here? What's happening?
Well, a lot of my Pokemon merch that I sold That went up in value when all the sort of hype on the Pokemon cards and shit went up. But I've never seen like consoles go up in value, even in the second hand. It's crazy. It's gonna get even worse too because of this whole, you know, Iran invasion or whatever. The cost of plastic is now spiking
Mm,
because a lot of the supply of, you know, the wholesale price of oil's gone up, and obviously plastic comes from oil, and also specific types of oil, and all that's popping off now. So everything is going to get hit, whether it's like shipping, and then you have a cumulative effect with plastic components, silicon, and then shipping all that stuff, and it's a whole ass mess. It's a whole fucking mess, bro. And it's only going to get worse, man. It's only going to get worse
yep.
before it gets better.
We have Zone Jordan who says, any word on State of Decay 3? Closest release 2026, 2027? I would say next year. I would say the earliest we
Mm.
probably see it for a release is next year. I don't think it's coming this year.
I Yeah, I think it's going to come out first half of next year, and we see it properly detailed at the June showcase.
And then and then maybe even a more of a deep dive at like the dev
Dev
direct for next
Direct,
year. Yeah.
Dev Direct deep dive, and then launch first half of next year.
Well, I
That's my
mean, we were
guess.
also sort of wondering, like, the beginning of this year, like, what Xbox would have this year outside of the big four, that right? Like the Halo, Forza, Fable, and Gears. I mean, yeah, they have the new Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4. Not announced yet, but presumably that's coming. Uh, we know Kiln is releasing next month from Double Fine. But they also announced
Yeah.
at Minecraft Live Minecraft Dungeons 2, which is also coming this year at some point.
Mm.
What do you think about that? What do you think about Minecraft Dungeons 2? Pretty successful game, I think, or the original was.
Yeah, I enjoy Minecraft Dungeons 1. I played it quite a lot.
Because you're the Diablo guy, and this is the Minecraft Diablo game.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a fun game. Like, the only reason I stopped playing it was because they broke my build so badly that I couldn't kill anything anymore. So I was just like, well, I can't play it anymore because they've broken my build.
They broke your
Um,
build.
they broke my whole build. But I think that was kind of like, that was just sort of them kind of learning and figuring out how to make these kind of games. Um, and at launch, it didn't have a very compelling end game. And then they added a lot of things that were from Diablo, like they added something like Diablo 3's Rifts and things like that. So I would presume that Diablo 2, Minecraft Dungeons 2, sorry, will be like a more of a complete feeling game out of the gate now that the devs have learned how to put that kind of universe together. But yeah, it was clearly successful enough to warrant a sequel. And I, for one, I'm interested to see what comes of it. Will I play it though?
Yeah,
Good
yeah, I'm
question.
sure. I'm sure you'll try it out.
I don't know. I don't know, man.
You know, I'm
Because
sure.
I got the real like when I played Minecraft, I don't think Diablo 4 wasn't out then. And now the real deal's out. It's kind of
Yeah, but I
like
mean, how much do you even play Diablo 4 anymore? So hardly
I
ever.
play it quite a bit. And I'm gonna play the
Is the
Diablo
new
expansion.
expansion coming out next month for Diablo?
It
Right?
sure is. And the new class they've added is the Warlock from World of Warcraft. So I'm definitely playing it.
Sure.
Well, it's not from World of Warcraft, but it kind of is. It's I play Warlock in World of Warcraft, and now I'm going to play Warlock in Diablo as well. Warlock for life, man. So yeah, definitely going to play it.
I think it's
But I've honestly never really liked Diablo's in game that much. I've never really liked it that much. The whole sort of like you don't really get anything to keep season over season. All the compelling rewards you buy them from the store. You don't really earn them. I don't like that aspect of it. Um, some people play just to play, but I want to play to earn digital crap, which I know is dumb, but I don't like the way Diablo handles some of that stuff. But that's a me problem. Plenty of people are enjoying it for what it is, and maybe I should do a bit more of that.
that is you problem.
It is a me problem, yeah.
Is definitely. We have, let's see, Busta Farami 1012 says, "What's going on with the Unreal integration with the creation engine?" I mean, I don't know. I have no idea. Jez, do you have any idea what's going on with that?
So what he's talking about because I said in a previous show that I'd heard that some of the upgrades they're doing for um the next Elder Scrolls and the next Fallout, they're upgrades that they've been testing through Starfield. Now, I don't know specifically exactly what that means. I was just told that exactly that like Starfield is being used to test features that will be present in the next games. And I think it's a lot of it is, from what I understand, a lot of it is technical stuff. So it's some stuff like streaming of assets in like a big open world and that kind of stuff. Which Starfield struggled with, which is why it has so many like loading screens and that kind of thing. So maybe it's revolves around, to speculate, maybe it revolves around ultimately reducing the amount of loading screens in the game, making it more feel a little bit more modern in that regard, like rather than having to constantly load new areas and that kind of thing. But what I'll do is I'll try and find out some more specifics so it sounds a little less vague. But like, you know, honestly don't know specifically what is in there. But um yeah, I'll look into it. Oh, the Unreal Engine integrated into Creation Engine. Um I Now you see, I don't think I ever said that. What I said was like it was just new features. I think someone else was talking about Unreal Engine being integrated into it, and we speculated on it. But wasn't it just for the UI? Or am I getting that mixed up with Halo? No, I don't know. I'm not sure about the Unreal aspect of it. Um, I don't think that was my report, but I definitely did hear that they were doing like some upgrades on it, and those materialize in Starfield's expansion and free update.
Okay. Let's see what else we got here. We have he also says yeah, in December you talk about Bethesda's upgrading their creation engine with Unreal Engine integration and using Starfield as a test bed. Is that still going to happen, or did you get any news regards to that?
Yeah, I really don't think it was Unreal specifically. I think it was just like Unreal like, if I remember correctly. Or maybe I misspoke. I really can't remember what I said in December. But like the thing that I do remember from talking to a source is just like general tech upgrades to Starfield that were being used that were designed with the future in mind. Put it that way.
Yeah, he also joined the channel membership, so enjoy the emotes. And he even said another super chat says, "Please,
Thank
sir, any
you.
news about Unreal Engine to Creation Engine integration?" Man, he really wants to know.
I mean, dude, send me a DM on Twitter and I'll look into it more closely. But I really don't think I said anything about Unreal Engine.
I mean, I don't remember what you said, but he sent multiple chats wanting to know, and I'm just DM Jez.
Didactbra says the Unreal Engine stuff was from Ecstasis originally. Now, I never heard myself that there was Unreal Engine integration there. All I heard was that there was tech upgrades being done, not necessarily to do with Unreal Engine or anything like that. I'm pretty sure I never said that. If I did say that, I think I misspoke, but I don't think I said that.
Uh, Cold Will says, "Jez, is Xbox still committed to Magnus handhelds? I want to upgrade for my Steam Deck, but would prefer something that's PC with my Xbox library."
So I've heard that like when I reported that the Xbox handheld had been shelved, um, I think I reported that the code name for the handheld was Pembroke. Um, the code name for the handheld was not Pembroke. um, oh man, it got really confusing because the code name for the Xbox Ally was Kennen, and we had a code name that was Pembroke, which I thought was for a first party Xbox handheld. But now it's kind of looking like Pembroke was actually Helix. Um, but I'm not actually sure for certain what Pembroke was, but Pembroke was a genuine code name at some point for Xbox hardware. But anyways, Microsoft told me that they'd shelved their first party handheld effort, and that's the report we put out last year. And well, they specifically emphasized to me, or at least my sources did. They emphasized that it's not cancelled. It's just sort of parked, right? And me and you had a discussion round where you were saying like, if it's shelved, that means it's never happening, right? Do you remember that?
Yeah, well, I took the opposite approach because you think they'll do it at some point. I said, well, then again, that was different leadership, so maybe different, things will be happening. But I felt, at least under Phil and Sarah, that once it was shelved, it's never going to see the light of day. They'll
Well,
never do it. Maybe maybe it's different under Asha, so maybe I'm back to 50-50, but I was very much in the camp of like, no, it's not coming.
yeah. It's fair to think that, to be fair, especially given all the way that prices are going crazy right now. But I've heard that they still aspire to do a handheld, like a true Xbox
Yes.
handheld
And I
with
aspire to date Sydney Sweeney. Yes.
who's that?
You don't know. I'm just saying, we all aspire to do
You know,
great things and do amazing
she's
stuff.
an actress,
So
right?
like, they can aspire all they want to do a handheld. Doesn't mean they ever will. We all,
Yeah, but
we all aspire.
yeah, I think like for them the priority is Helix as a console. But you have to remember Helix is the project name of next gen. It's not necessarily the project name for the console itself. At least that's what I've heard. So under Project Helix, maybe we could see a handheld return. I personally believe they will do it because it's totally within the remit of Microsoft to have a device that can run everything everywhere all at once. Sony's doing one, and I kind of feel like if you are the company that's pushing this Xbox everywhere kind of thing, how are you going to do that without a handheld device? Cloud can't do everything. The laws of physics are established. You can't go faster than the speed of light. An infrastructure can only get so good before you have bottlenecks and that kind of thing. I think at some point native is the way to go, and presumably with all this AI stuff they're doing, some of those performance deltas can maybe be solved by an NPU or something. I don't know, some kind of AI bullshit magic. I don't know. Like everyone hates DLSS 5, but I think like on a handheld, it makes far more sense if like I can upscale a game on a device that otherwise wouldn't be able to run it very well. I think it makes far more sense in that context rather than like as long as it's not the default, right? So yeah, I do think they'll make one. I just it's not confirmed that they will right now. So if you do see someone reporting that there's a handheld definitely coming, take that with a huge pinch of salt until like a credible source like Tom Warren or myself puts something out there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, let's see what else we got here. We Analog
I want to know.
says
I want to know who Sydney Sweeney is on. Is she an actress or a pop singer?
yes, actress.
Now I think I know who she is. Is she? Was she in a movie called The Housemaid?
Yes.
Me and my girlfriend watched that on the plane.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, quite good. I thought actually. Have you seen that?
I have not.
I thought it's sort of like a horror, psychological horror kind of thing. I thought it was all right. I think it was pretty good. And yeah, Sydney Sweeney is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think she'd date you, bro.
I'm saying we all aspire, right? Why not?
Is she from Chicago?
I doubt it. I don't think so.
Who is from Chicago? Is anyone from Chicago?
Nobody's
Is there any
nobody's
chat
from
from
here.
Chicago?
I'm sure there's people from chat that are around Chicago. Yeah.
Do you know who is from Chicago?
Who?
You know, in Home Alone 1,
Okay. Yes, with Macaulay Culkin. Uh huh.
yeah.
Where are you
You
going with
know,
this?
when you know when Macaulay Culkin's mom is coming back to find Kevin,
With
and
John
she gets
Candy.
with John
Yes.
Candy. John Candy says he's from Chicago.
I'm sure his character probably
Yeah,
is
his
from
character.
Chicago. Yeah, but it was
So
John.
there you go.
Yeah. Was John
Yeah,
from
yeah.
Chicago though?
I don't know, but his character was.
All right.
That was the first time I ever heard of Chicago. There you go.
Hmm.
Good story. Good story for you there.
Great story. I'm so happy you brought that up, and everybody's so much smarter for hearing that and more informed.
The Pope is from Chicago, apparently.
Yes, Pope is from here.
That's
So
crazy.
let's talk about here.
Talk about the Pope.
talk about the Pope. Uh, you know,
You know it.
let's get into some juicy bits here. Let's get into the juice.
Oh,
PlayStation.
juicy. I like juicy.
PlayStation had some bad news this week. You know,
Oh,
Xbox will have some bad news. Well, this is the thing. Like, I think last time PlayStation shut down Blue Point, and then I think it was the next day. Was it the next day when Phil and them retired? No, it wasn't the next day. There was something recently where PlayStation announced Blue Point, and then Xbox literally had bad news the next day. I forget what it was. It wasn't that long ago either, because the Blue Point stuff was recent.
Someone in chat might remember.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody will remember. But so PlayStation had a couple bad things. We'll talk about the one that, you know, probably will affect Xbox or whatever, potentially. But they're raising the price, PlayStation. And it's not just by a paltry $25 or a measly $50. They're raising the price a staggering $100, and I think it's like even more staggering, ridiculous $150 on the Pro, as well as the Portal's getting a big price increase.
The Portal's getting a price increase.
Portal,
I didn't know that.
PlayStation Portal, like pretty much everything is getting a price increase. So let me get the actual numbers here, because they put out, it kind of leaked yesterday. People were like, "Hey, the price is going to increase." Some people didn't believe it, but then the PlayStation announced it this morning. So, in the U.S., we have the regular PS5 is now $650. Now, keep in mind, at launch, it was $499. The PS5 Digital Edition, which was $399 at launch, is now $600. That's yeah.
Oh my god!
And the PS5 Pro, which was, I believe, $700 at launch, is now $900, and that's in the U.S. There's, you know, UK, Europe, Japan all have their own stuff.
That's a lot of bucks.
That's a lot of bucks. So the recommended retail prices for consoles are affecting starting April 2nd, which is a week from now. So if you really, really, really want one of these systems, if you really want a Pro for, you know, Wolverine and GTA at the end of the year, then you might want to hustle on over there, because the PS5 Pro got a $150 price increase. $150, Jez. Or maybe it was, I think it was $750, and this is $150. So
that's a lot of bones.
That's a lot of dollars. Now, I guess you could say it's interesting, but also funny thing about this was a month ago, Sony said that they had secured enough memory for 2026 that they intended to minimize the impact of ongoing RAM shortages and avoid PS5 price increases. This is from Sony CFO Lin Tao. Quote, "We are already in position to secure the minimum quantity necessary to manage the year-end selling season of next fiscal year. Going forward, we intend to further negotiate with various suppliers to secure enough supply to meet the demand of our customers. Hopefully that means there will be enough to last into 2027 too." And, well, a month later, we have some massive price increases. So I guess, you know, did they not get enough RAM? Is this more to do with something else? But
maybe it's like, I mean, there's a couple of factors at play, to be completely fair to Sony. It's not just like the fact that, you know, AI infrastructure demands is pushing prices up and things like that. You still got tariffs, the chaos of tariffs being spread around, and now you've also got Iran being spread around. The shipping lane, you know, the Persian Gulf is an absolutely crucial shipping lane, especially for regions like Taiwan and China, shipping things to the West essentially. And you know, the disruption that's going on there, the spectacular incompetence with regards to that whole thing is that's gonna have a huge negative impact on all sorts of consumer product prices. You know, even before you start thinking about food prices and things like that, we're obviously talking about consumer electronic prices. This is not political. This is just the raw facts of the matter. You know, this is the mathematical facts So for anyone who's super sensitive about their favorite politician being criticized for reality-based commentary, I suspect that you might feel less sensitive to tune out about this. But it's a fact that prices will go up as a result of the action going on in Iran right now. It's just a cold, hard fact. And to deny that is to deny reality itself, which I'm sure lots of people like to do.
Sure,
But
of
anyways,
course.
yeah, they do. They love to deny reality, but this is reality. So I'm sure like this is also having a factor here, and I wouldn't be surprised if like Microsoft also starts to issue advisories soon about what they're going to do with some of their prices. Netflix just put their prices up as well. I don't know if you saw that.
Well, Netflix, yeah. So like, at least they could have, if the Warner Brothers deal was going to go through, they could have at least said, "Well, we're acquiring this, so we're going to raise our prices." But that didn't happen. Plus, they got paid out $3 billion for the deal falling through,
Yeah.
and then they still raised the prices. I think it's like $1 for the lowest tier and like two. So like the premium tier is now $26.99, and it's
Yeah.
approaching that mark where sure you could drop down to other tiers, but it's like ads and everything. So it's like at least a preaching for me. It's approaching that mark, that's that target where I'm like, it ain't worth it anymore. Like when Game Pass hit $30, I was like, it can reach the point where it's like, am I using it enough in a month to justify $30 this month? And it was like, I don't
Mm.
know. Well, now like Netflix is like getting to that price where it's like, I don't know if this justifies the cost either. Now I could drop down a lower tier, but I've told everybody, I've said on this show, like I cannot stand ads whatsoever. So it's like, do I just be like, well, I'll just go to a lower tier and just have to deal with ads or whatever? But yeah, like Netflix is getting to that point where I'm just like, I don't know anymore. You know,
Yeah.
like
It's crazy, but yeah,
it
but
was so much better when I
yeah,
was on my buddy's Netflix, but then
yeah,
they cracked down on password sharing. But back to this stuff. I mean, Xbox, they did it last year. They raised the price twice, right? That was the whole thing. It's like they raised it
yeah.
$50 and they raised it 100. So you have like the Series X sitting at 650, and then a lot of people made fun of the fact that I think it was like the 2 terabyte Galaxy edition of the Series X was more expensive than the PS5 Pro at the time, which is ridiculous because right, like, oh well, this thing's $750 and the Pro was whatever it was. Like, how could that thing be more expensive? And Xbox took a lot of the brunt, because Xbox consoles at the time, they weren't selling well. At least you could say PlayStation consoles are selling well, or at least they were selling well. I don't know how they're going to be selling anymore. I don't know if they're going to be selling well going forward, because you're really, I mean, you've sold, I don't know, I think PlayStation sold like 90 million units or whatever it is, close to 100. Have you tapped out the market that's willing to pay those prices, or at those prices? But now you just jumped up another 100. Is like,
Mm.
is there how many people are left at that price point that want to buy it? And granted, you do have Grand Theft Auto coming, and I guess you can make the argument.
Maybe this is the time to do it when Grand Theft Auto
Yeah,
is coming.
okay, maybe this is now the time to do it because people are actually gonna. Yeah, Grand Theft Auto's not on
Be
PC,
cynical about it.
so
Yeah.
if the and most likely the best version of Grand Theft Auto is gonna be on the Pro. So, and we can we can probably assume that PlayStation has the marketing rights for the game. They'll probably bundle it with PlayStations and stuff. So like they could be thinking, okay, we can make some extra money potentially. Although, I mean, the $150 price increase on the PS5 Pro is kind of ridiculous. They
Yeah.
the thing came
Makes
out
you
at
wonder how
seven
much
hundred
damage is gonna
bucks.
be.
Well, no. So now, if you're looking for it if you want the best place to play GTA at launch, PS5 Pro. But then you sit there and you think that's $900 before taxes. So after taxes, it's pretty much 1,000. Then on top of a price of a game, and whether the game's 80 or 100 or whatever, I mean you're over $1,000. Does that
Mm.
price people out and make them move to the $650 regular PS5?
Or maybe people just start thinking like, shouldn't I just wait to see what Helix and PS6 look like?
Yeah,
Or maybe people think
No.
like, well,
Well, so
actually,
that's
this will be worth even more
but
money
that's the
next
other
year.
thing because like now this gonna have an effect of next generation, right? Because you don't normally see a next gen console come out that is cheaper than the current market. Because I think we can pretty much say like cross gen's probably going to be here to stay for a long time with how
Oh yeah.
expensive these consoles are. So PlayStation is going to be selling the PS5 for a long time into the future. Now, depending on who you believe, you know there were some reporting that the PS6 may not see the light of day until 2028 or 2029. And I think there are other people saying, actually, no, it's on target for 2027. I think Kepler was saying that. I think MLD was saying that. So you have some people saying, no, it's coming next year, just like how Helix is coming next year. But then you have other people being like, actually, it may not come until 2028 and 2029. And it's like,
Mm.
if your base PS5 is 650 and your Pro is 900, like I think both me and you in the chat would agree here, when prices start to go up, they hardly ever really come down. Right?
Mm.
So if you're selling a PS6 next year and presumably it's a way better piece of kit, better technology, pricier components, all those sort of things, suffering from the same problems that the current PS5 and the current console industry is suffering from. Like, do you?
I mean,
I
like,
can't like the fact that the Pro is 900 and that like the PS6, unless the PS6 is worse than the Pro, which I really doubt, unless like they sunset the PS5 Pro and just being like, we're no longer making this and selling this, and we can come in and with the PS6 and sell for 750 or 700. It's like you're looking at like $700, $800 for the PS6, which I don't know about you, but that's too expensive for like a mass market console. And I know there's a lot of brand loyalty to PlayStation, maybe even more so than Nintendo, really. Or maybe not. Maybe Nintendo has a bigger brand loyalty than PlayStation does. But at some point, your pocketbook and your loyalties and stuff kind of collide. And especially if all the games are cross-gen, where like I don't need to upgrade to a PS6 because I can play all the games here on my PS5 that I currently own. It might be in for a world of hurt, you know? Like I mean, we've talked at length on the show about the realities of Microsoft and where they're positioned with their console and like how there's not a lot of interest in it. There's been declines quarter over quarter for like 3 years now. They don't make a lot of them. They make them to order, as you always say. Like it's too expensive. And when you talk about next gen, with how the public perception of Xbox is combined with like the price tag that we think it might have, like $1,000 or $1,200, right? Like I don't know how many of these things they're gonna sell. Like that is an extreme price point for
well,
something
this is
that
one reason why like Roblox is cleaning up, because
sure.
Roblox, for people who do feel like 600, 700, 800, $900 is too much for a system, they can just slap that shit on a $300 iPad, which they've, owned for a million years, and just play it like that. That's what tons of kids are growing up thinking, that games should be free or cheap. It really is kind of like older people who are like, oh, games should be premium experiences that, cater to high sensibilities. A lot of these youngsters are growing up, parents being like, well, you ain't having a PlayStation, too expensive. Just play Roblox on your iPad, because they physically can't afford it or justify it, you know. So, I mean, it's a tough situation to be in, because these components have real price costs behind them. But it's not just like components; it's also like um, it's like a bit of everything. It's components, but it's also um, components that go into server farms and stuff. So Amazon will be charging Netflix more money for their compute, and vice versa. And then they have to pass those costs on consumers, and then consumers decide, well, I can't afford this, and then they end up getting priced out. I think with regards to streaming services, though, like people will be choosing between, for now, people are choosing between services, which is why like you've seen the Netflix boss come out and talk about things like, oh, maybe we could bundle these, you know. So like the subscription companies aren't competing against each other as much, where it's like, well, we'll offer bundles at a discount and compete with, you know, because right now I'm not thinking of unsubscribing to Netflix. I'm thinking of what other subscriptions could I get rid of, i.e. Disney. You know, I use Disney less than Netflix. So I think, in fact, I think we already cancelled the Disney, you know. And then I start looking at other things like Spotify and whatever. It's like, well, I got YouTube Premium. Maybe I could just use YouTube Music instead of using Spotify Premium, you know, so on and
Yeah.
so forth. So like a lot of people will look at Xbox Game Pass and be like, well, do I actually use it enough to justify subscribing to that over a Netflix? And that's like another dent that you put into gaming, you know, when things are so expensive. There's just so much pressure on the gaming industry right now, you know, to sort of maintain profitability in an era that was, in a whole industry really, that was built on a globalized economic system of free trade, which is now sort of collapsed over the last very specific 2 years. You know, the whole concept of cheap consumer goods is based on tariff-free trade or low tariff trade, and now you've got countries competing with each other on this tariffs chaos, and these are kind of the result of it, you know. And then there's the AI factor as well, and then the bottleneck of you know, only certain companies in certain countries can even manufacture the silicon at a grade that is good enough for these electronics. I mean, there is a huge opportunity here for some company to actually, you know, deliver cheaper RAM if they can figure out how to do it, you know. But making components at that level is a really complicated process that takes like, it's almost a generational kind of amount of training involved in order to deliver that kind of quality product. And obviously Western companies, Western countries and Western governments have painfully underinvested in their own manufacturing sectors over the last 2 decades, and given all that to China and given all of it to like, you know, Taiwan and stuff, and just being like, oh, they manufacture enough, that's fine. And now all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, we don't have enough. We don't even have enough for basic shit. And now like you've got fridges and toasters with RAM in it. You got cars that have CPUs, you know. But everything wants RAM and chips now. And we don't have enough left for the basic shit. Missiles? What about the missiles, Rand? Does your missile have enough RAM in it?
What about them missiles?
And missiles need RAM too, bro.
And what about the Steam Deck, or not Steam Deck, the Steam Machine? We still don't even know when that's coming. We know it's coming this year, but like one of the reasons why that hasn't happened yet is because of they're not sure what the price is going to be. We do have an analyst.
Here's another thing. Sorry, go on.
It says we do have an analyst who says here, Dr. Sirkin Toto, CEO of consultancy firm Cat and Games, who says it looks like Sony baked in potential future fluctuations and decided to go for one substantial increase in early 2026 instead of raising prices more frequently and over a longer period of time. The strategy also gives them some leeway to lower prices and offer deals if things surprisingly get better. We're on the cusp of hearing about machines, new machines, and latest Xbox, PlayStation news, and it does seem like this is a harbinger for what they'll cost consumers at launch. He says, "I think $9.99, at least for one variant of the PS6, is not impossible." Meanwhile, Van Duren agrees that we've quickly moving towards a world in which a $1,000 console will be the norm and console gaming will be a luxury expenditure. He continues, they really don't want to raise prices on their hardware because that part is usually heavily subsidized part of the equation, and the sale of games is the gravity point of their revenue model. I predict that the next generation of console hardware will start at a 50% higher price point than the current one did. So 50% would be 500, 250, so $750, which is what kind of like the PS5 Pro launched at, which we always thought like, well, the PS5 Pro price point might give us a look at what they're thinking for the PS6. Matt Piscatella says both the timing and the pricing of something like a PS6 must be considered to be in flux, noting that there's just far too much volatility and uncertainty. Could we see $1,000 pricing? Sure, that's possible. Would really hate to see that, but it's possible. Could it be 2027? Maybe. Could it be 2028? Sure. Later, why not? I do not think that the current market conditions allow for much certainty at all in the hardware market. Hopefully, the conditions improve. They could get worse. Who knows?
I will.
Now, I mean, that one guy talked about like Sony doing deals, which is something they did this fall, like for the holidays. They did do like $100 off sort of thing, and they actually did shift a lot of PlayStations. Now, we did mention GTA, and it's one of those things like GTA is coming out in that fall window is one of the things where they could essentially offer like $100 off both like the PS5 and like the Pro, where it's like it's not $900 for the Pro, but it's like, hey, get the Pro for a limited time for $100 off for GTA for $799 or whatever it would be. Those sort of things, but this really kind of just paints a more negative picture for next generation. And then even like, what's Microsoft going to do? If Sony's already being like, all right, we need to do this, and I know Microsoft's already raised the price of their console twice. Could they raise the price of their console 3 times? What about the Switch 2? I mean, there was a report by Bloomberg that they cut, was it production, or they cut their something by 30% because of soft
20%.
sales or something.
They cut production 20% because of soft sales. Yeah, Nintendo sort of denied it, but also not really.
So
I said we don't comment on
Nintendo, because is Nintendo going to have to raise the price? The Switch 2 sits at $499, which is $100 more expensive than the Switch 1. So are they going to have to raise prices, or are they going to try to raise prices elsewhere? Like they did just do the thing, which I don't know if you saw this, like where the physical game is now more expensive than the digital game. With upcoming that like upcoming Yoshi game, I think is like 60 physical, 50 digital. What just really on the side here? What's your thoughts about that?
I think like they probably figure the margins are better on the digital.
Because they made it say, like Nintendo kind of said like the physical version is not more expensive. It's almost like they basically were saying like the digital version is cheaper. And as someone who's like all digital, I'm very much for the idea of physical costing more. And I've always been like, I've always kind of rolled my eyes at the idea of like, hey, Crimson Desert, $70 digital, $70 retail. Like it should be cheaper digital. But it was always said like, well, they're not going to give up that money. And, they have contacts with retail where retail doesn't want the games to be cheaper, but then somehow Nintendo is able to do it. Hell, raise
Nintendo can get away with anything.
I guess they can. So, I personally, as a digital owner, digital gamer, I would love it for digital games to be cheaper.
Digital Rand.
It's like, hey, you know what? Like, yeah, why not have that $90 physical game where the digital version is $70? But that's not how things are going to go, anyways. But I don't know. Like, looking at it from the Microsoft side of this, like, do they have to raise prices of the Series X and S again? What do you price Helix when it comes out next year?
This is one of the sort of the copium. And often attribute Xbox and Microsoft being this sort of huge entity. They have a unique kind of power in this current landscape because they are the ones who are pushing the prices of RAM up with their massive purchasing orders for the server infrastructure stuff. So, can Xbox piggyback on that to some degree? Does Microsoft's leverage as a hyperscaler on the frontier of AI, does that help Xbox at all? Or is that just pure copium? Personally, I think it's pure copium, but it is something that I've seen bandied around as a potential that Microsoft can do to sort of leverage its disproportionate influence. And I do think Xbox does benefit from this. I do think like in a universe where Xbox is kind of like independent. Let's imagine Xbox is independent and it's sort of like it's in third place like it is now. I don't think an independent Xbox gets anywhere near as much support from developers as Xbox does as part of Microsoft. because like even though like Xbox is in third place or whatever, it's still getting all the triple A games. It's still getting all the support that you would hope a first party platform would get. But I feel like they wouldn't get that support if it wasn't just from the fact that they're Microsoft, that a lot of these companies they work with buying compute from them already for their own AI systems and their own, you know, cloud and all that kind of stuff. PlayFab, is now free if you make your game for Xbox PC, I think, if I remember correctly. So like these are all like clever ways Microsoft's using its infrastructure to punch above its weight. So part of me wonders, like, I think I do think it's probably not going to work out that way. But I think it is an interesting point to think about, like how Microsoft can use its clout as a massive company to win itself more favorable pricing terms on some of these components, you know. But maybe it comes to nothing. We just need to kind of wait and see. But one thing I know for sure, Ran, the Xbox Series S and X are probably sticking around for a lot longer than probably ever. And, games like Roblox, Fortnite, Overwatch, they're all still even maintained on the Xbox One, for God's sake.
I mean, hey, Fortnite's got its own problems. Epic just laid off 1,000
Yeah,
people.
yeah,
And they
Epic.
straight up blame Fortnite in their messaging, where like Fortnite's had a downturn, so less revenue, less players. Like there's this sense of AAA gaming is cooked or at like a crossroads, because like if you like everybody's chasing live service, but then you have a game like Battlefield 6, which set all-time sales records for the franchise and money, but all the studios that worked on that game got hit with layoffs. So it's like you can make the number one selling game of the year, and you're still not safe, and you're still going to
Well,
get
this
laid off. And then you
here's
could be a developer on the biggest game, out there,
in
the
the
biggest
world.
live service game out there. That's not Roblox or whatever. That's Fortnite, making billions of dollars, and you're still not safe. Because Epic has a lot of other. They have their hands in a lot of other pies, right? Like their court battles with Epic and Google that Tim Sweeney's spending. Like he famously said, "Oh, we can fight it for decades, and maybe we'll have some problems." Like, well, how did that go? Like a year later, right? Like the
Hubris.
doing the acquisitions where they make these, specific game modes for Fortnite, like the racing game or the whatever else, and you
It's
know,
our hero game.
supporting up the Epic Store, which nobody uses, like all these other things that Epic is doing because they hit a gold mine with Fortnite. But now the mine's starting to like run out a little bit. So now
Mm.
what's happening? It's like now you need to scale back, and Tim Sweeney's this like Tim Sweeney made this like tone deaf tweet where he's like, "There's gonna be a lot of amazing people looking for jobs, and they're the best of the best." It's like, well, if they're best of the best, why'd you let them go? Like I
Mm.
don't know. So it's like you see this, and it's like no matter what, it seems like you can't win. It's like no matter how well something does, it's like the job security in the market's just shit. And then you
Well,
look at
dude, I
the
think like
consoles and you look at the pricing, and that's going to affect all this too because if the PS6 comes out at $800, the
mm.
uptake is not going to be great. And it's like, does that affect? Would Sony have to cut costs elsewhere and like lay off people? If Helix doesn't do is what Xbox thought, does they have to do more? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like this all just feeds
Oh,
in on
dude, yeah.
itself constantly.
The thing is, I think almost every industry seems to be hitting a downturn right now. Every single one, and there aren't many industries that are kind of like seeing this amazing time of growth. Like Meta's laid off tons of people, Amazon's laid off tons of people. There's a handful of like emerging markets which are seeing like a really strong growth right now, and they're kind of really, really fresh and in their growth phase. Like the predictions market is one of them. Like these companies like Polymarket and the other one I can't remember, it begins with a K.
Kalishi
Like
or whatever.
Kalishi, whatever it's called. Like I read a report that like a lot of young men, like college age students who would traditionally be spending money on games are now spending all their money on Polymarket and shit like
And
that.
OnlyFans.
And OnlyFans, yeah, the CEO of OnlyFans died last
I did see
week.
that.
Yeah. Did you know OnlyFans is Britain's biggest tech company?
It's pretty sad, bro.
So, yeah, I like nobody in Britain talks about this, but OnlyFans is a British company, and it's like Britain's biggest tech company, by far, or something like that. Not counting the banks, which I suppose are tech companies now. But anyways, but it's true that I think like one of the issues the game industry has is not necessarily like anything they're doing anything particularly wrong. It's just there's so many different ways to instantly gratify yourself on the internet now. It wasn't like back in the day, like a lot of these services didn't exist, but gaming did exist in other forms, and gaming really rode the internet wave stronger, faster, and harder than any other platform in history. Nvidia was a gaming company before they were like a server company, and as you all know. But now, like, times have changed. There's just so much stuff to do now that constantly demanding your attention, whether it's TikTok, whether it's OnlyFans or Polymarket or, social media or anything. There's just so much stuff out there. And you could say, like, you could argue that every company kind of expects their market, their addressable audience to be bigger than it is, potentially. I don't necessarily think that gaming is necessarily doing anything particularly wrong right now. I mean, there are things that I would probably change, but I'm sure lots of you got thoughts on that. But there's still like there's tons of things, there's tons of great things to play. It's just arguably like in a way, there's almost like too many good things to play, you know. And how do you sort of like how am I expected to be able to play like literally every kind of game I want to play? Like when there's so much out there to play. Like back in the day, it wasn't like this. And potentially it's only going to get worse, as artificial intelligence, for better or worse, makes it easier to develop games. And I'm not talking about the art assets necessarily, because it feels like the entire industry all up has rejected AI generated art. But the one thing that AI companies are sort of coalescing around is programming. Like AI seems to be best used as a very powerful artificial intelligence autocomplete mechanism, you know, where like you can more quickly diagnose bugs and more quickly generate working code than you were able to do so previously when you had to do things more manually back in the day. And tools like GitHub Copilot and Claude Code and OpenAI's new Codex thing and all that kind of stuff, that's going to enable games to be developed at a more rapid clip than ever before, even if you're not using the AI for developing the art and the writing. Well, you're almost certainly using AI to help you with the coding, which means there's going to be more games to play than ever. And I think all games have like an audience to find. It's just like when you've got like, I don't know, 100 million gamers and you've got 100 million games and each game has a million players, then it's GG, right? Um, it's you kind of like you're spreading out the audience there. I don't know. Or sorry, every game has 100 players. I mean, I don't know. I'm not good at maths, but you get the point, right? You sort of dilute in. There's only a finite amount of humans in the world you can address your content towards. There's a finite amount of humans. We're not even just. It's not even a case of talking about gamers here. There's a finite amount of humans, and when you hit that limit, which you're inevitably going to do, but things still go up in price. What do you do?
Line gotta
It's a
go
kind
up,
of
bro.
yeah, line goes up. It's like a huge existential flaw in the entire economic system, which is why like you often see a lot of these sort of big capitalists and tech bros. They often talk about like birth rates a lot, and they worry that like how will line go up if human race line doesn't go up? It's a genuine concern, and it's you know this debt, the debt that the international debt rather can only be serviced if line keeps going up. And line only goes up if population goes up when you get reductionist with it. It's it again becomes kind of philosophical. But all these issues that the consoles facing, game devs are facing, games are facing, all the tech companies are facing, no matter whether it's an Amazon, a Facebook, whoever, it all comes back to like there needs to be perpetual growth because there's perpetual inflation because there's perpetual debt. Like how do you fix all that shit? I think what the play is, Rand. You know what the play is, Rand?
What's the play?
You know what
What's
the
the
play?
play? What's the play?
You use artificial intelligence and robots with artificial wombs
Jeez.
to clone humans, and the
Sounds like the
humans then,
beginning. Sounds like the beginning of a sci-fi novel.
yeah, it sure does. But so China is apparently doing this already. They're developing artificial wombs to grow humans more quickly. And then if you can grow humans more quickly, because humans don't want to have babies because they can't afford to have babies.
Too
So
expensive.
what? Yeah, it's too expensive. So what you do is you get the state to grow the
Ah,
baby.
get the
The
state to grow.
state grows, yeah, and then owns the babies, and can also like teach the babies to buy certain things, certain products, and then maybe line continues to go up even without human intervention, bro.
Oh wow.
That's the play. That's the play.
Future
That's the
is
play.
is bleak.
That's
Let me
the
off this
play.
ride.
That's the play.
You
I
know,
really do think honestly, if we're still doing this podcast in 50 years,
50 years.
okay, account for your age. Let's say 20
Accounting for
years.
your age.
We're still doing this podcast in a decade. We'll revisit this point and see if we have started growing artificial humans in artificial wombs, bro.
See,
I think it's gonna happen. I think it's
I
gonna
know
happen, bro.
taking
Yeah,
it
it's gonna
back to
happen.
like this stuff. It's like I'm really curious if they're like I know the reporting and what it is. I'd be really curious if PlayStation's launching their PS6 next year because I think Microsoft at least is in a position where like they kind of know what their hardware is, and like I've always kind of thought I think they're gonna basically sit in there and they're like we're gonna with Steam on the box and these other stores we're gonna make sure that we're making money on each one of these devices we sell. So like we, what we thought even before all this stuff, $1,000 easy for the Helix, maybe even 1,200. Because if it's really just for the hardcore, the person who's interested in the system at $1,000 is still going to be interested in the system at 1,200, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now, like with Sony, because let's be honest, like the console means a lot more to PlayStation than the console does. Xbox mean, the console means to Xbox, right?
Yep.
And it's like if I'm Sony, put yourself in Sony's shoes. Like, do you launch a PlayStation 6 next year at $800, or do you wait to 2028 and 2029, hoping things get better, so you can launch it at a lower price? So
You mean hoping there's a government in power who gets rid of the
I'm just
tariff?
saying, like, if you were in charge, what would you do? Because if you're launching the system at that high of a price point, it's like, well, that really affects adoption rates. That affects like how
I don't think
number of games
I
you sell, which your cut of all those sort of things. It's like
I don't think
it has a really big
Sony
domino
can
effect on
afford.
everything.
Yeah, it does. But Sony can't put the brakes on any of this shit, right? I think like you can't just wait and hope that someone sane gets in power and gets rid of the tariffs. You can't just hope for that, right?
Well, not even
You have
the terror. Like not even the terror. Like what if the ramp situation gets better? What if like the other economic factors get better?
Well, again, you can't hope for that. I think like the play is you have to keep going, and then if things get better, you can just lower prices later or release a product that is more in line with the economic situation at the time. Because even if you are selling a product that is extortionately expensive, there is still a market for that extortionately expensive product. Like look at games like fucking what's it called? That space game where that you can buy like $1,000 ships in it. Um, Star Citizen.
Star
There's
Citizen.
there's always a market. It's just about like if you can manufacture the right amount, as long as you don't over leverage the amount of stock you've got and you correctly position yourself, you can create a market out of anything really. I mean, Razer just announced a 5090 laptop.
Ooh.
Who and it's really thin. It's
Mm-hmm.
crazy thin.
How much
So
is
the
it?
engineering,
How much is it?
I don't know, but it's not going to be cheap. It's not going to be cheap. It's not going to be cheap. So like but there'll be a market for it, and they will make the exact amount they need to make for that to be profitable. Obviously, not a mass market thing, but gaming hasn't been mass market, but it also doesn't necessarily need to be mass market because Sony will still make money on Fortnite, whether it's on PS4 or PS5 or whatever else.
Well, I mean,
So,
if Fortnite continues to
well,
decline,
Fortnite still exists.
I mean,
Yeah,
that could be an
but
issue for
Roblox,
them.
whatever. Or Fall Guys. I've been playing Fall Guys recently.
I know
I've been playing Fall Guys.
you talked to me before that,
Yeah,
before the
it's
show
quite fun.
about that. But it's not even that's not even all the bad news that PlayStation had, because raising prices you think is bad enough, and surely it is, because it's just like kind of pricing out a lot of people. But they also shut down another studio, and this one hadn't even released the game yet. I don't know if you
That
saw
sucks.
this, but they shut down. Let me see here. What I've written down. They shut down Dark Outlaw Games, which was Jason Blundell's new studio. He of Treyarch fame. Now, this is the second time Sony's canceled his game on him. Originally, Jason and a bunch of people from Treyarch, they formed Deviation Games, and they were making the
Oh
game
yeah,
exclusively for PlayStation. And then PlayStation canceled that game, effectively ending Deviation Games. But then Jason took some of the people that left Deviation Games, formed Dark Outlaw. Sony bought them, and then a year later they shut them down. So I
that's
don't know. Maybe
crazy.
Jason needs to realize, don't partner with PlayStation. I don't know. Like, that's 2 games in a row for him. But PlayStation
That
shut
sucks.
down something like 6 or 7 studios this generation. I'm very nervous. If I'm somebody who's working at Haven right now, I'd be getting my resume ready, because I don't have a good feeling that, one, uh, if the game does come out, a fair games, that it's gonna last. Two,
Mm.
there's a part of me that says one of these days we're gonna wake up and we're gonna get the announcement that Haven's been shut down and Fair Games has been canceled. You know,
Mm.
I
I
got.
forgot about that.
I mean, that's a lot of their live service push. I mean, there's a lot of discourse surrounding everything around Marathon, which is something I'm playing, and you guys can see our horrible gameplay. Like we loaded into Cryo, and I think 2 of the games we
It looks
played
pretty
here
good.
on stream, we got rolled up on a team and died and lost our loot. So, but one
Oh
time we did
no.
extract, so that was fun. But even still, there's this weird campaign of hate around the game. I'm not even sure where it comes from. People are constantly
Oh,
posting
I know exactly
its
where it comes from,
Steam
dude.
concurrent player counts and stuff, and
Dude, I can tell you right now exactly where it comes from.
yeah.
It comes from people who wish the budget had gone to Destiny. That's where it comes from, man. Like people like, and I've seen this in Blizzard, right? I've seen this at Blizzard when Blizzard's been working on something that isn't one of its core franchises. People go crazy. We saw it with Diablo Immortal. People were like, "Oh my god, why are you making this mobile game? Why aren't you making like XYZ? Why isn't the budget going to this other game? This game's got all these problems, The discourse around Diablo Immortal was exactly like that. And I really genuinely think like people are rooting for this game to flop because of the Destiny struggles that are going on right now, at least partially. But I also think there is this trend where people just like to see things fall apart and fail. And to be fair, this is hardly a new thing. I mean, we saw it with the thing that first comes to mind for me is like the coverage of Britney Spears. Got like in the tabloid media, like when she was having very, very public problems, and we've seen it with Shia LaBeouf right now. I probably pronounced his name wrong, but like every time like I log onto Reddit, there's some like celebrity news, like a celebrity having a meltdown in public. It's kind of the same thing, but it's just in gaming. People like to see things fail, but I do think the Destiny angle is probably driving at least some of it. But I'm happy that the game's doing well, and I'm happy that you're having a nice time with your
Well,
friends, Rand.
so here's the thing. I don't know if the game. I mean, I really like the game. I think a lot of the time, like, I think I like it better than Ark. I don't know if the game's doing well, because this also
Mm.
kind of goes to the other thing that the other news story that kind of happened this week was, with to no surprise, but like Jason Schreier put out there that a budget for a AAA game these days is $300 million, which is something we sort of already knew. That was kind of like confirmed by the Insomniac leaks and some of those other ABK stuff, where we were like finding out that like, hey, a lot of these Call of Duty games almost cost $500 million. Like AAA gaming is expensive, and that kind of
And
goes
it's
in
gonna get
line
worse.
with like, oh my God, you made the number one selling game of the year in Battlefield. Guess what? Here's your bonus. You're laid off because it's not enough, right? Or all these sort
Yeah.
of things, and it's, you look at Marathon, you look at Destiny, and you look at like Bungie, where they're located, and presumably the budget for Marathon's like $200 million, and then like Alinea Analytics put out their sales numbers, and it's like 1.5 million copies at $40, with a platform split of like 80% on PC and 20% on console, with like it's like 200,000 copies on PlayStation and 130,000 copies on Xbox. So it's like basically being carried by Steam, but like the numbers aren't great. And then I sort of think like, if you're PlayStation, are you really going to invest what it takes to kind of make Marathon a success? Or are you just going to be like, all right, time to move on to something else? Not that I'm necessarily worried, because I've definitely got my money and my enjoyment out of Marathon. And like I've told you before, when the mandatory wipe comes in June, I may never play the game again, because if everything is getting wiped, my faction progress, my vault, my weapons, all that stuff, I may just be like, I'm done with the game. I had a great 3 months playing it, but I'm done. I sort of look at it like, is Marathon? It's like, what do they need to do to get
Well,
more people to play
here's
Marathon? And because it's certainly not going to make its money back, its dev budget or whatever, and less people playing it, less people spending money in microtransactions. It's like, what's the game plan here? How do we make this a success? Like, how do we, Sea of Thieves wasn't the biggest success when it launched either, but it became one eventually. Like, you know, uh,
well,
Rainbow
my
Six
thought
Siege, same
process
thing
is
happened, right? It was kind of,
yeah,
wasn't a success at launch, and it became massive. But are
yeah.
we at a point now where, like, if you launch a game and it's not really a hit right away, it's almost impossible to turn it around, kind of thing?
My thought process is like, it really depends on the economics of the game. If it's like a very expensive game to run, and by all accounts, Bungie is an expensive company. Like, it's one of the reasons why like Microsoft passed on acquiring them, I was told, is because like their balance sheet is iffy, you know. And I'm sure like Sony's worked that out over time since they've acquired them. But like, if you look at games like Helldivers, Deep Rock Galactic, Sea of Thieves, these are games that are, you know, comparatively cheap to run compared to like some of the other bigger service games. They don't have huge teams. They're also developed in cheaper locations, compared to like a California or New York or whatever else, or Washington DC. Washington State, sorry, I should say. So there are these factors too. So it really depends on like how cheap the game is to maintain. And I think like there is plenty of room in the world for sort of smaller service games. We've seen a lot of smaller companies have a lot of success and sustainable business models from um a comparatively smaller user base. But I do agree with you that it's by no means a guaranteed thing, which is you know is anything guaranteed these days. It's a crazy time in the industry. But it's also like why like I think developers who are releasing like um service games right now, like, because it's not just like the cost of making the game now, it's the cost of running the game, and servers and cloud costs, they're going up too. If you've got dedicated servers, that's a huge amount of maintenance and overhead over time you've got to take into consideration. And then I look at a game like Fall Guys, which I was playing earlier, and like it's just a fun little game, and that can't be super expensive to maintain. But it's also like it's had its big viral moment, but it's certainly not like it's not as huge as it was during its initial spike. Neither's Power World, neither's a lot of these games. So personally, I think Sony would be crazy to just flat out give up on it. Like even Blizzard maintains its old games. Fucking StarCraft 1 got an update recently, and like Blizzard still maintains some of its old games, and that's part of community building. So I think Sony would be crazy to shut that game down, man. Unless like the user base completely collapses. I think that'd be crazy to shut it
I mean,
down.
maybe not shut it down, but they may just be like, all right, no more updates. We're moving everybody to Destiny 3. Enjoy Marathon for as long as it lasts or whatever. But we'll see what they can
Mm.
do to bring more people in. I think that you could probably put it on PlayStation Plus, maybe even Game Pass if you're looking for a new user boost. But the game is pretty hardcore off the rip. It's also kind of difficult to understand. So I think even if you got like, all right, it's basically a free to play game now, a lot of people are probably going to fall off of it pretty quickly.
Mm. Well, I mean, it's way too hardcore for me. Like I'm a casual now.
Yeah.
I've
But I
accepted
mean,
this. I'm a casual.
what do you think? What do you think needs to change in the AAA gaming space? Like with Jason saying $300 million is almost kind of like standard for a game. Is it just basically you need to reduce scope? You need to cut the budgets? Like what do you think needs?
I think
Is
that
this a problem? Mismanagement and people, the heads of the middle managers bloating it? Is it should you be looking to outsource and like, hey, you know what? It's cheaper to build games in Poland and China and Korea and stuff. Like, kind of how like the manufacturing jobs all left America because American workers demanded a certain pay scale, but then other people from other countries were willing to do it for cheaper. Is that kind of
I think no, I really think like the core issue is that there's fewer people going around, and like, or at least there's a finite amount of people, and there's a disproportionate amount of games coming out to address to those people. So I think really, there needs to be just less games coming out, frankly,
Jesus?
which just is kind of like a sucky thing to say, but there's only so much amount of time, but there's too many games for the amount of people that are playing them. You know, I think then, and this isn't just like this isn't an issue of curation. It's an issue of like if you're making a game, you can't just expect guaranteed success. You could like there's a lot of games that come out which frankly just probably didn't need to exist. It's sad to say, but it's probably true. Um like you look at the releases that are hitting like Steam or Xbox, and some games that end up with like 100 players or whatever. Like look at a Concord, for example. What did Concord bring to the industry that the industry was desperately in need of? You know, and it sucks that like it sucks for anyone who's losing their job when they put their passion in and to create something. But we're seeing it in like every industry right now, like game journalism, for example. Like I don't expect Windows Central to exist after 2 years. I think 2 years is probably generous, but AI is like Windows Central seeing it too. Like there's less people, um, there's less addressable audience because there's so many distractions out there. So like, does Windows Central need to exist? Probably not. I'm doing my best to make sure that it will exist, but it's also like the fact of the matter is that there's so many other things to do now. Like I have to be like work all that extra harder for what is potentially even less of an audience. So um there is too many games, I think. We joke about it, but like just speaking purely from a mathematical perspective, like what do you do? Like I physically can't play all the games that I want to play, and what's the solution there? Is it like expect people to pay for them and then not play them? Because I think like it was the Stardock CEO said something like um an unsung hero of the game industry. He said something like that. Unsung hero of the game industry was people who buy the games and don't even play them.
Yeah.
People
When the games
basically
go on
people who just
sale, like buy the game and then
yeah
never play it. Yep.
yeah like people who just hoard the game. That doesn't sound like a healthy business. That doesn't sound like a healthy industry to me.
Well, I mean,
Um,
I don't think AAA games costing minimum of $300 million is healthy. I think that needs to change. I mean, there's one thing. It's
how
like,
can it
well,
change? How can it change?
I don't know.
When
Like,
people demand a quality bar, and the cost of
I
living being what it is, like how can it change?
I mean,
Things
I'm not
aren't
in a
cheaper for
position to
your
change. I
workers.
get that, and I see people say the same thing, but it's like, okay, well, let's just say like games weren't. You look at Crimson Desert, and Crimson Desert's probably also made for a lot less because it's from. I think it was made in Korea, right? Uh,
Parts of it are, I think.
but it's like, your typical map game and all this sort of stuff where it feels like, well, we need to put all this sort of stuff so people can have like, oh, it's 200 hours of content or whatever. And when you're building that at Ubisoft or you're building at a different studio that costs a lot, like then it's like the costs skyrocket. It's like, okay, well, maybe we shouldn't have built all these systems in this big world. And maybe what Sean Layden said before was correct. Like these games, instead of 30 to 50-hour games, we need to be making 10-hour games or 15-hour games where the dev time isn't 5 or 6 years, it's 3 years. So the
But then
cost of the game
people
isn't.
say the games are too short. Then it's
I
like,
mean, I know, like people, especially if like games don't look as well. Oh, the graphics don't look great, and I know, but I'm just saying, like, is this something that can be sustainable? Like, I mean, we had that discussion with the Insomniac leaks where they were projecting that X-Men game when it come out in a few years was going to be $500 million. I mean, we already know some of these Call of Duty games are $500 million, and you know what? It's fine if it's $500 million if you're making $2 billion dollars or whatever on the game, or Grand Theft Auto, it being $1 billion is fine because you're going to make your money back right away. But those are unicorns in the space,
yeah.
and it's like, is it always going to be like that? I don't know. Like a lot of these big AAA experiences, if they're not made in another country, are really expensive. And
Yeah.
I know I mentioned it a few times already, but it's like the fact that everybody at the Battlefield studios got hit with layoffs after breaking all of the Battlefield records of most people playing their game and like their sales records and all that stuff, and they still got hit with layoffs. I mean, that's a sobering thought of like, no matter how well a game does, that it still might not even be enough. Especially if
Yeah.
your corporate overlord is EA or Ubisoft, or Ubisoft just shut down like what was that iconic studio? Red
Red Dead Redemption. No,
no, that's the Red Storm, or
Red
whatever it
Storm.
was.
Yeah.
It's like,
I still haven't forgiven them for shutting down Pandemic.
yes, well, EA, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Like 15 years ago or something.
whatever, however long it was when they bought. It was like they really wanted BioWare, but it was like a kind of a thing where like we get BioWare and Pandemic, and then they're like, oh, shut down Pandemic. We only really wanted BioWare, and now it's like it sort of feels like they don't even want BioWare. Really? Like, I'm waiting for any point in time where they're just like, oh, we've closed BioWare, right? Because
It's scary, bro.
it very much is, very much is.
I'm it's really tough because I think that the key issue here is like we're just podcasters, and everyone here listening to this, like most of the people here, we're all just gamers, and at the end of the day, I think most sane people want the industry to be healthy. They don't want anyone to be laid off. They don't want any negative shit to happen to anyone, right? But I think the crux of the matter here is that I think even the game industry doesn't know how to deal with this, which is why we are seeing layoffs. And if like even Fortnite, the biggest game in the world, and it's still the biggest game in the world, this side of Roblox, which you could argue is barely a game, frankly, because a lot of kids play Roblox just for the social networking aspect of it. Like, I've got a friend who's got like an 11-year-old, and he says that he's always on Roblox on his phone, but he's not actually playing anything. He's just chatting to his friends. No, so it's like that social layer. It's like how like I suppose back in the day people would jump on Xbox Live to do that kind of thing, right? Which by the way, I think is something that Asher Sharma, as a Facebook Messenger executive, is probably tasked with solving. But you know, that's neither here nor there. I think the game industry all up is sort of like they're wrestling with a lot of existential kind of crises in multiple different ways. You've got like the cost of living crisis, so everyone wants to get paid more. Everyone needs to get paid more, um, to maintain the quality of life that they expect. and then you've got like server costs go up because silicon costs go up, then component costs go up, and whatever, and then like your food costs go up. So then, as a multi a multiple a multiplic I can't say that word. You know what I mean? It has a multiplying effect on all your costs, and then shipping costs go up because of the oil situation. Like all that is going on at the same time as your audience is being diluted by a variety of other non-gaming activities at a clip that it hasn't happened at before. You know, websites are seeing this. Every industry is seeing this dilution of attention. You know, I don't know if you saw some of the reports about like some of the websites, like some of the biggest websites in the world have lost anywhere up to like 70% of their traffic over the last 2 years. You know, and that's not just like AI doing that. That's also just behavioral change. People are just engaging with the internet differently than they used to, and that's affecting gaming too. You know, it's crazy, bro. And I don't think anyone has an immediate answer to this, but it's going to be interesting, I think, more than anything, to see how Asha navigates this, because she's navigated that world, social media world. She's got a unique understanding of the way AI is going to play a role in the tech industry, and she seems social media savvy. So she's got that sort of understanding of like, okay, the youth want social media adjacency from their platforms, a la Roblox. So I think like the company to watch right now really is Xbox. And I'm genuinely not just saying that because we're an Xbox podcast and I prefer Xbox. But if you actually like look at the expertise that's sort of coalescing within Xbox right now, it's very, very interesting the choice of person they've picked to solve this issue. At least that's my take. Maybe I'm wrong. We should get some super chats,
Oh, yeah.
buddy.
We have Analog who says, I'm happy I built my PCMR Xbox in 2024. I'm sure. Alex says, Jez, Moore's Law is Dead said Steam might not be on the new Xbox.
It will be.
I mean,
it's just Windows. Like, why wouldn't it be on it?
Yeah.
It's literally just Windows. You can install anything you want on it.
Yeah.
I'm going to install Adobe Premiere on my Xbox.
We got Mr. Pat Rock saying Game Pass Triton would be perfect business sense for Game Pass on other platforms. Third parties probably wouldn't want their games in a multi-plat sub. True Hero says thoughts on Game Pass Triton making the X rounds. Yeah, so what about this, Jez? What's going on here? This all Microsoft first party Game Pass thing I saw was going like have you delved into this? What's happening? What's going on? Is this something to do with maybe like Asha and the Netflix thing? Because remember, like there was like talks that maybe Game Pass and Netflix might be coming together or something.
That information out about the Xbox Game Pass price coming down? Who put that information out there? Was it
information about like Asha wanting to lower the price or something?
Oh, is that what you were talking about, or did I mishear you?
About what?
Is that what you said again?
Say what what do you mean? What are we talking
about?
What is
the topic? What's the topic?
About Game Pass Triton or Triton.
Oh, okay. So I thought you were talking about the rumored price decrease of Xbox Game Pass.
No.
But I guess these could be like, I suppose they could coincide with each other.
They could.
So yeah. So the source of this, is it Tryon? I think the code name for a new Xbox tier is Tryon. I think it's Tryon. And the person who got this information is Red PHX, who is a very, very excellent web developer who built the better xCloud app. So he reverse engineered xCloud and made it better. And you can Google search better xCloud if you want to check out. All it is just a layer on top of xCloud, which adds a bunch of features, makes it run better as well. It's really quite impressive. But because he reverse engineers xCloud, he also gets a lot of information first about what Microsoft is doing, and he was the first person who got information about Xbox's restructure last summer when they, restructured the whole tiers and stuff like that. He had that information first. So this new information about what Microsoft could be doing next with Xbox is pretty much probably on the money. So it does sound like Microsoft is looking to make a tier of Game Pass, which is just first party only, by the looks of things. Now, maybe this is a tier that maybe it's for cloud, specifically for cloud, to make sure um, if you've got the buy your own game stuff, you also get access to first party stuff without buying them. Maybe it's a cheaper way to give people access to first party games, maybe. Um, and the information put out a rumor that Microsoft was looking to lower the price of Game Pass. And while my sources have said it's way too premature to suggest that, maybe what the information was getting at was this new tier, maybe that could be a little bit cheaper and maybe more focused around first party stuff. But it could also just be an experiment and might actually not be anything materially that'll materialize with consumers or whatever. But um it does sound interesting. What would be your take on it? Is this going to be cheaper? Who is this for? Who is this first party only games
Yeah,
for?
I mean, I've always thought if another platform accepted Game Pass, whether it was Steam, whether it was PlayStation, whether it was Switch, that it would just be Microsoft's first party games in it. Because clearly there wouldn't be any of the third party stuff, like those games you saw in the store there, or what have you. So when I saw this, I did say, one of my first thoughts was is this maybe like Game Pass for
Oh,
Steam or something where it's like, all right, it's just the first party games.
well, how about this? How about this? Maybe this could be Game Pass for Apple and Google,
I mean,
because I think this is
potentially.
one way they could get around their rules of not creating a second store within their store.
Yeah, I don't really see PlayStation or Nintendo wanting Game Pass in any capacity. PlayStation rather sell their games at full price, and I don't think that'd happen. But I mean, I think Steam's a possibility. I mean, I think Gabe said he's not against it, so it's like one of those things where you wonder why hasn't it happened already. I don't know if that's more to do with Microsoft trying to build up their own ecosystem with Xbox PC app rather than. But I would imagine if the opportunity to put Game Pass on Steam presented itself and they could do it, they'd be on there in a heartbeat because that's where the whole PC
You know,
user base is.
one of the issues that Xbox is going to have to contend with soon, which at least for now is not a serious threat in any capacity, but could become one in the future. Um, at GDC, Google announced that it's launching a PC store. Not only is it launching a PC store, the games that you buy on the PC store also work on Android. And one of the other things Google is working on is Android for desktop, basically a full-blown Android-based desktop operating system in a universe where Chrome OS is not powerful enough. So Chrome OS being basically web-based, Android OS for desktop would be far more powerful and have access to way more stuff. So, if I am a Microsoft, I kind of have to think about well, if Google's Trojan horsing Windows again, we need something to Trojan horse them back potentially. And right now, their rules preclude us from launching shit on their platform, even though they're allowed to do shit on our platform, just because Windows has historically been open. Bill Gates is probably kicking himself about that.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I mean,
too much kumbaya again. But
I also
the reg-
thought because there are these rumors also about some partnership maybe between Game Pass and Netflix. There was some
yeah, they
scuttlebutt
were
about that.
kicking around ideas. Yeah,
It's like,
apparently.
okay, could that be? I mean, I don't know if that comes from the whole information article where Asha has been meeting with Netflix people after. Yeah, I don't
The
know if.
Netflix, the Netflix guy himself said it. He said they
Yeah,
were
yeah,
kicking
yeah,
around ideas.
yeah. So does that, I mean that if you were able to put Game Pass on Netflix, that's pretty massive. Let's be honest,
It
and
sure is.
maybe you could only really do it with your own games because maybe there'd be a lot of other licensing nightmares if you try to do the third party stuff or whatever. Okay, maybe that's a possibility. Like the idea of like, okay, there's also this rumor of a lower tier, but I already think like Game Pass is tier maxed, so to speak. There's already 3 tiers of Game Pass, 4 tiers if you know think of PC on its own, right? Where you have, I don't even know the names anymore. You have like Essential, which is I think $10, which is
So
basically a multiplayer access, cloud
yeah, you're right.
gaming, and some games. Then you have Premium, which is 15, which is a lot more of the games. And then you finally have Ultimate at 30, which is like everything. It's like the day one games. It's got the whole library. It's got like Fortnite Crew and all these other like extra things on top of it and what have you. So like the idea of adding like a cheaper tier, and I know there's like the whole ad tier potentially would come, but then even could you essentially offer a first party only tier? But it's like you already have 3 tiers. Are you? And one of them, the
Well,
lowest one,
how's
starts at
this?
10. So are we going to come in one for $5 or something? Like I don't know. Like I feel like Game Pass should be offering. Like I feel like three's the max of tiers you should really be offering. Like any more than that, like you're going to 4 or 5 or whatever. I think that's too much.
Well,
Um,
maybe it's like this. Maybe it's like if you get Game Pass Ultimate, you also get the games on Android and iOS, but just
yeah,
these games.
maybe. I don't know.
And that's how they get around the rules.
I mean, I think it is interesting that it's a tier of only just first party games because that does open up the speculation about maybe Game Pass on other platforms or like on Netflix or something where like, hey, we control
For
this stuff.
me, for me, it is definitely a play to bring it to other platforms because I don't think it makes a ton of sense on Xbox first party. But on Android and iOS, it makes a ton of sense because those companies are anti-competitive and don't like people muscling in on their territory, even though they're happy to do that on Windows. Um,
I think
so
didn't Jen write an article in Windows Central about Game Pass being too expensive and they should remove some things from Ultimate or something from.
she she was like I think her angle was like, if they bundled it with Netflix, so that she could get both at a lower clip, then it would make sense, you know.
Yeah.
Um, because she pays for both, and I've often thought that about stuff like World of Warcraft. Like, why am I paying Blizzard? Why am I paying Microsoft 2 subscriptions here? World of Warcraft's £10 a month, and it's like it's nothing, but it's also like, shouldn't this be in Game Pass Ultimate? Shouldn't Fallout First and Minecraft Realms be in Game Pass Ultimate? If it's the ultimate Xbox subscription, like, shouldn't it have everything?
You
I
think
don't
it
know.
should? I mean, it really should, but then it's like, how expensive would it have to be then at that point?
Like, maybe it's like build your own bundle. Let me get rid of Fortnite Crew and put World of Warcraft on it. You know, maybe I can choose one extra, like an add-on subscription,
I mean,
or
that
maybe
would be
this,
really
maybe that's what Tryon
pro-consumer.
is.
I'd like that.
How about
I definitely get rid of Fortnite Crew and all the other bullshit.
How about this? Tryon is an add-on subscription where
Hmm.
you can add it to Game Pass Standard. You don't get all the extra games or the cloud or any of that shit, but you do get the first-party games for like a little bit extra or something like that, like an add-on package. And then maybe you can like throw in like other add-ons like World of Warcraft or Fortnite Crew or I don't know, anything else. OnlyFans subscription. Maybe you get one OnlyFans subscription a month. Oh, how about you get a Patreon subscription and you can
Ooh.
subscribe to Xbox Two Podcast via patreon.com
Or
forward slash
what about
XB2
a what about
for a
a
discount.
what about an OnlyFans thing too? Why not? Why not? We're just throwing things out there. The
Did
biggest
you know?
business in Britain or whatever you said it was.
Yeah, it's the biggest tech company in Britain. Did you? Well, actually, maybe Arm is. It's Arm a tech. Arm's a British tech company. I don't know if it is anymore. Didn't SoftBank buy it? I can't remember. But anyways, I digress. Uh, did you know Markiplier has an OnlyFans?
No.
Yeah, Markiplier has an OnlyFans, bro.
Did you subscribe to it?
I checked it out. I did check it out. Yeah, it's like a comedy charity OnlyFans where he's like posing comedically in his boxers and stuff, and then all the money goes to charity. It's pretty cool, actually. Why is Markiplier so cool? Why can't we be as cool as Markiplier?
I don't
You
know.
know, if you carried on like grinding on YouTube, maybe you'd be big enough now that you could make your own Wheel of Time movie, like Markiplier made the Iron Lung movie,
Yeah, maybe in another reality somewhere.
and then you could cast yourself in the movie with Sydney Sweeney, like you
Oh,
said earlier.
Sydney Sweeney.
There you go. There you go.
That'd be something. That definitely would be something.
Wow, this one.
What else? What else is here? Oh, how about Xbox beating PlayStation, Nintendo, and Metacritic? Huh?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, I forgot about that.
So Metacritic put out their publishing rankings, and Xbox was in the top 5, and Sony and Nintendo were not. Let's just say. So, did you know who was number one, Jez?
Who?
The number one publisher of
I have no idea.
2025. Take a guess. Take a guess.
Mm,
I mean,
I'm gonna go
we've talked about them a
with-
lot on this, on not this particular show, but a show in general. A company that kind of was, everything was on Xbox, and then they pulled back from Xbox, but now they're back in on Xbox.
Capcom?
Not Capcom. When did Capcom pull away?
Oh, Square Enix.
Square Enix was number one. Yeah,
Square Enix number one. Damn.
number one. Their average Metacritic was 84 with 19
That's
products.
pretty good.
Yeah, so Square Enix was number one. Gimor Games, I've never even heard of them, was number 2. Number 3
Whole
was
slide.
Capcom,
Yeah.
which is great. Number 4 was Thunderful, which just released Planet of Lana 2. Number 5 was Microsoft. And 2024's rank, they were 9th. This year they're 5th with their average Metascore of 80. 43 products with 21 titles, 81% good, 0% bad. They had one great game. Best 2025 game was Forza Horizon 5 on PS5 with 92. See, that's the thing about this, is like they include any sort of new release, a new thing. So like Forza Horizon 5 counts as a new thing here. What they say is Microsoft's very solid numbers listed above include games released by its subsidiary labels, including Bethesda, Softworks, Activision, and Blizzard, in addition to its flagship Xbox game studios. Weirdly, Microsoft's 2 high-scoring 2025 games were actually PlayStation products, Forza Horizon 5 and Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, both ports of previous Xbox console exclusives, and you can expect future Microsoft titles to also make their way to PS5, even Halo games. Its best Xbox game, that would be Activision's Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4. The best Xbox Game Studios published Xbox game, The Outer Worlds 2. Most of the 19% of Microsoft's 2025 slate lacking positive reviews came from Activision, like Call of Duty Black Ops 7 and Bethesda and the Indiana Jones DLC. But the company could be nearing a turning point given that longtime Microsoft gaming CEO Phil Spencer just retired and a new console codenamed Project Helix is in development. So, yeah, they were number 5.
I really like Metacritic.
Nintendo.
I want to give Metacritic a shout out, actually. Like Mark Doyle, who runs Metacritic, he's great to work with. I just want to add that in.
So Nintendo was number 12. And then PlayStation was number 21, Sony. Their average Metascore was 74 for 17 products. And their best game was Last of Us Part 2 Remastered. Yes, that's it. And they say, yes, that's a PC game leading Sony's 2025 slate. The PlayStation owner continues to port eventually many of its games to Windows, in addition to its flagship console, at least for now. But Sony's best PS5 game last year, the highly anticipated sequel Death Stranding 2 on the Beach, just missed the 90 mark, while the Sony-published Ghost of Tsushima sequel Ghost of Yotai was also well reviewed. It certainly wasn't all good news for Sony in 2025, however. Multiple titles fared more poorly with reviewers, including a pair of Destiny 2 expansions. Yes, we include titles credited to Sony-owned subsidiary Bungie in the figures listed above. The years in development Chinese action RPG Lost Soul Side and the horror party game Midnight Murder Club.
I didn't even know those were Sony games.
I mean, yeah, people hyped up Lost Soul Aside for years until it came out and got a 60 on Metacritic, and then suddenly people are like, "Oh, what? Sony? That's not a Sony game. Sony didn't release that," or nobody even knew what Midnight Murder Club was. But
so,
yeah,
what's this Xbox tax all about then?
mean, I guess
What if Xbox is releasing great games? Like, why does everyone hate them, bro?
I don't know. But I've always said I don't think the Xbox tax doesn't show up in reviews for games. I think it's how you know how it's covered.
It shows up in podcasters hating everything they do,
Or
even though they
Jeff
don't use the
Keighley not
product.
tweeting stuff. Do you see all that stuff with Jeff Keighley not tweeting certain things?
Oh yeah,
and people being like, "Come on, Jeff, you got to be, you know."
balanced.
Special Nick had been calling him out for a while there. Like Jeff
Yeah,
Keighley.
I bet Special Nick is not. I mean, Jeff Keighley is probably not Special Nick's biggest fan right now.
Yeah. So. But yeah, I mean, yeah, Xbox, like that's the thing. Better games is all great. It's all good. It goes to show you that because I think me and Colt was doing this thing where he was tracking like every game that PlayStation and Xbox released, and basically they've released the same number of games, and Xbox's like Metacritic or its Open Critic is actually 2 points higher than PlayStation's. But the perception among gamers everywhere is that PlayStation puts out way better games than Microsoft. But if you actually like delve into the numbers, they're basically the same. It's like there's like an 81 for Xbox and a 79 for PlayStation. But like you said, nobody even remembers Lost Soulside, and nobody even knows about Midnight Murder Club, and nobody attributes a lot of these things. And people just look at it and be like, well, Avowed was bad. But Avowed is the same Metacritic score as Marathon. So if Avowed's bad, does that make Marathon bad? I guess it would depend on who you ask at that point, right? Yeah. We have another super chat from one STN 15th 2 who says, after price raise, I don't understand Sony leaving PC. Yeah, I guess that's the other sort of thing here.
That's a really good question. That's a good point.
Well, so I don't know if you saw. I don't know.
Sony will sell less games if it's got less hardware.
But if they're thinking about raising the price and they need a reason for people to buy the hardware, then exclusive games would be the carrot. Yes.
Yeah, but wouldn't people just be like, well, I'll just stick on my PC, there's plenty to play?
Well,
because as the theme of the show has been, there's plenty to play.
Well,
and this is why I love Xbox Play Anywhere, because
yes, we know you love Xbox Play Anywhere because you can lay in your bed with your nachos, and you can play them while laying in your bed. Yeah. But I don't know if you saw this. Like, so there was previews for Saros that came out, right? And so Saros is a new game by Housemarque. Comes out end of next month, April 30th. Looks really cool. Can't wait to play it. And they were specifically asked about a PC version of Saros. And the guy responded with, we're only talking about the PlayStation version today. Not a no about, hey, Saros will never be on PC. Just a PR response of, we're only talking about this, which makes my Spidey PR senses tingle, because that's a response that basically says, oh, it's coming to PC later. We're just not talking about it now. But Saros is one of the games that Jason Schreier said wasn't coming to PC. So I don't know.
Could Jason Schreier have been incorrect?
I don't know. I mean, betting against Jason Schreier is usually a bad course of action. So
someone put something up on Polymarket so we can gamble on it.
Oh yeah, gamble on everything. You can gamble on. Hey, will this week's Xbox 2 be less than or longer than 4 hours? Go gamble now, and then I'll see what it is and bet. If it says I'll bet against whatever it is and make sure we either go longer or shorter, so I win.
Are you suggesting, Rand?
Oh, what?
That people do insider trading via Polymarket?
No, of course not. No, I never do such a thing like that. Insider trade?
No, it'd be that fucking evil.
No, nobody.
No. Of course not. No.
Of course not. Absolutely, I would. What are you talking about?
Oh yeah, because we established on a previous show that you are Rand, our criminal.
I mean, guilty as charged, I suppose.
You break the law with reckless abandon. You're basically John Marston, bro. Basically, the whole Red Dead Redemption franchise is about you.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Uh,
Were Chicagoans cowboys back in the day?
I don't know.
But
Maybe.
you said it's the Midwest, right?
Yes, Midwest.
Well, it's the West, the Wild West,
The
Midwest,
Wild
the
Wild
Mid
West.
the Mid Wild West. Yeah,
The Wild
so I
Wild
think
West, the Will Smith movie. You love that movie?
I've never seen that movie.
Wow.
I've never seen that movie, and I regret it because I'm sure it's amazing.
Amazing. Doesn't
I've
even
never
be
seen a bad Will Smith movie actually.
really.
People clown on Will Smith, but I've enjoyed every single movie I've watched. I love Independence Day. I love Men in Black. Like, tell me about like I Am Legend. I enjoyed that too. Tell me a bad Will Smith movie because I ain't fucking seen one, bro.
Wild Wild
I ain't seen
West.
it. Is it bad? It's got a big robot spider in it. Like
Yeah.
I remember the trailer. It's got the movie with a big robot spider is bad.
Movie with big robot spider is bad.
Suicide Squad. I didn't know he was in that.
He
I
was in
didn't. I
Suicide
didn't.
Squad. Yeah, he was Deadshot.
Yeah. People in chat are saying Hancock, Suicide Squad.
Hancock is great. I don't know where the hate for Hancock is coming from. That movie's awesome.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I like Will Smith. I think he's awesome. Although it's pretty ignoble that his career's kind of ended, and he will forever be known as the guy who slapped Chris Rock now.
Yeah, that's true. We have Glyph here
Or
says,
Chris
any
Rock.
news about Wreckfest 2 going to console date? No idea, and I don't think Jez has any idea either.
I do not.
Uh,
I did try Wreckfest though. I like the idea of it, but
The
it's a
Andrew
bit.
says, fun fact, both Red Storm and Epic are both based in my area of North Carolina, and all the tech companies are outsourcing and laying off. Great time to work in tech. Oh, it's the best time to work in tech, isn't it? Best time to
It's
work
the
in
best
video
time.
games.
It's the best time to be an investor in tech.
Yeah,
Not so great to be working in tech, unfortunately.
Gamer by Choice, been a member for 75 months, which is pretty incredible. Says, I think you two are spot on. There are more games to play than people, time and money to play them all. I think the industry may be in trouble.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I'm not. It's weird. The only business I've ever really focused on for coverage is gaming, right? But I kind of like want to research like what has happened in other businesses where the addressable market just becomes saturated with, competing product. I mean, I suppose you could look at the PC market where like the Windows OEM market, the laptop market. Like I was talking about earlier how Razer's just announced like the thinnest laptop it's made ever, but they ain't gonna manufacture millions of units for those. They're gonna manufacture like thousands, you know. So because they know the market for premium laptops is pretty thin. I don't know, man. I suppose the video game industry is going through that period of like maturity, you could say, and it's going to be a messy transition out of that, I suppose. But Rand, I need to bear it back real quick because I drank too much cider. So I'll bear
Oh
it
my
back one
god.
minute.
Oh my god. All right. Well, with Jez going to the bathroom, I figure it's a good time to head over to the Patreon page to look at some Patreon questions so we can see here what people are talking about, what people want to chat about. Let me just bring it up real quickly. Let's see. Where's this? Here we go. Let me scroll to the bottom here. Get some of these questions. All right. So, you two can also join our Patreon at patreon.com/XB2. Can ask some questions, get some shout outs, get early access to podcasts when we do them, all that good stuff. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and our sponsor for this episode, Surfshark. Surfshark.net/XB2 VPN. Protect yourself while online because nobody else will. And it's pretty easy to get, your click on a wrong link, or even when I don't know, even when like you browse with mobile, like sometimes I'll browse with mobile and I'll go to a lot of these gaming websites like VGC or IGN, and like their site is just unreadable on mobile, inundated with ads and everything.
Yeah.
You can just put right, you can just install it like Jess says in the router level and then not have any of that stuff. But I mean, shit, even Windows Central is pretty bad to read on mobile.
No, it's awful, you know. And they recently added, like, because we're doing this new thing at Windows Central where we're gonna have a membership. It's free. We're gonna have a membership area where there's like exclusive content. Um, and we're really excited about it actually. Like it's gonna be free membership content, um, but eventually will there be like the ability to pay to turn off ads or whatever. But even like the membership pop up they added, the dev team added to the site is like really intrusive, and I'm like, guys, this ain't it, man. This ain't it. Like if it was me, like when I made Xbox mad, right? I had this whole thing about like um and this is probably a bad example because Xbox Mad never made a penny. But I had like this thing where I was like, I hate inline ads where there's articles in the text. I'm only going to have an ad at the top of the text and at the bottom of the text, and there's going to be no ads in the body, so people can just cleanly read it. And if they see something that catches their eye around the article, then fair enough, you know. But um, but line goes up, right? And I think a lot of websites over time they were just like, oh man, we can monetize the hell out of this and put like shitloads of ads everywhere, and that's one of the reasons why a lot of people are just going to AI for answers now. It's just a nicer, more pleasant experience. If you like load up an AI chatbot, there's no ads. You got a consistent interface, all that kind of stuff. So maybe the competition from the ad-free AI will drive people to eventually reduce the amount of ads that we get on the site, but we'd have to find revenue in other ways, I suppose. Memberships being the way. Patreon's a future, bro. You guys should subscribe to our Patreon.
That's right.
By the way,
I
here's the
mentioned
link.
it. Yeah. So
Oh
we
man.
got Chris here who says, "Hey, howdy fellas. Hope your week is going well. Rand, as a fellow X-Raider, new Taos City 4 resident, boy, do I have to tell you how much I enjoy being bloodthirsty in this game. Oh man, I love it. I love being bloodthirsty. In Ark, I was the
Mm.
epitome of a Care Bear, always helping my fellow raider with gear or killing Ark. And Marathon, it's on sight. No excuses, no pleading or begging. If I see you, I will do my best to send your consciousness back to Oni with all the loot staying with me. Want to exfil together, little rook? Over your dead body. I know Marathon seems to be more of a niche title, but I really hope Sony lets it live. I want more of this world's story and gameplay. What's your over-under in Marathon surviving 2026, and at that rate, Bungie? Oh, I think 100% it survives 2026. Absolutely. I think Bungie will too. I'm just more concerned about like after that,
Mm.
especially if the player numbers don't like get better. But I mean, like I said,
Well,
they can still put it in PlayStation Plus if they wanted to. They could still put it in Game Pass if they wanted to, where you could get an influx of new gamers. There's things they can do because you're right. Like, I really like the world and all that sort of stuff, and it is a lot of fun to be bloodthirsty. Now, granted, you will die. People will take your stuff. And you're watching this video, you did see us die twice, and we got some good stuff taken from us. But that's just part of the game, man. You can't be mad at it, right? Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. So
true that. Rand, did you see that another major, speaking of games being shut down, did you see like a major publisher shut down a pretty niche shooter this past week?
mm, I just saw the PUBG shut down a game. PUBG shut down Blind Spot or whatever.
Never even heard of that.
Neither did
But
I
no,
until I saw it. But no, what happened?
Battlefield Hardline has
Oh
been
yeah,
shut down and delisted.
it's only a matter of time. What was that? When did that come out? 2015, 2016,
Something
around
like
then.
Did you like that? I kind of liked it.
Hardline was okay. I didn't really play much of the multiplayer. I played the single player. So I thought the single player was at least different for its time, being like different from the other
Mm.
Battlefield games. But I think around that time I was kind of like over Battlefield. Like I played like all my Battlefield time played was all during the 360 gen when it was like Battlefield 3 and
Yeah.
Battlefield Bad Company and Bad Company 2 and like Battlefield 4 I think was cross gen. I spent a lot of time in that and then I sort of just fell off. I didn't really get much into Hardline. I mean I played Battlefield 1 but I didn't play it that much. I know a lot of
Man,
people like Battlefield 1 but I didn't really play it that
Battlefield
much.
1 was my favorite. I think, and this is pretty bad, I think I played Hardline more than I played the latest Battlefield.
What's funny
And
is
that's
I did
Crazy. That's really
I
annoying.
I only loaded up Battlefield 6, and I have like 5 hours in the game. We played 2 nights of the battle royale mode, Red Sec or whatever it's called, and then Arc came out, and then we just all went to Arc, and then we've all went to Marathon. So I literally have the game, and I've only played it for 5 hours. I didn't even play the campaign. I didn't even try the regular multiplayer. But if one of the things you notice, like if people hawk the Steam charts, is like how far the player count has fallen on PC. It's like they played it for a week or two, and then they were like, all right, this is enough. And
I'm not even like, it's really weird because I really enjoyed it in the beta, and
oh,
for what for some reason
you were cheering on Kyle's downfall via Battlefield
I
6.
was.
Absolutely.
I was, yeah. I was like, yeah, this is it. This is exactly what I want. But then when the game came out, it was like the other maps were not that big, I think. I can't even really fully put my finger on what it is that stopped me from getting into it. And then I ended up just going back to Overwatch. Because then Overwatch had its renaissance too at the same time.
Renaissance.
Yeah, renaissance. Like Overwatch had a ton of new content, and then like just as I was like maybe considering giving it another go, Overwatch releases 5 new heroes and the cat. Battlefield's never going to compete with the cat for
True.
starters.
How come you never
But
recorded any footage of you playing the cat?
um because I'm embarrassed that I'm really bad.
Oh, okay.
So I only post the clips on social media where I look really good.
Hey,
I just play casually, bro. I'm not a pro gamer.
I play casually. Dude has 1,000 hours in Overwatch too. Just play
I mean,
casually.
I don't get sweaty, man. Some people get so sweaty. I have been playing World of Warcraft PvP recently, and I've been playing it rated like their ranked mode. People get so angry, man.
I know
I can't like
people got angry in Arc, and they get angry in Marathon, man. I don't know. People just get
people
angry.
get people get in quick play and Overwatch and stuff. Like people are generally pretty chill because it's quick play and nobody really cares or takes it that seriously. But like, as soon as you step into like ranked and like if you lose, you lose ranking and stuff. People go ape shit. Start like screaming, "You're a bot and you're a win trader" and all this kind of stuff. Oh man, it's part of the fun of it though. Really, how mad people get at that shit. Uh, But I'm just like my days of sweating are over, and I don't get sweaty anymore.
We got a question here from C Woody. Good afternoon, Xbox Squared. XB Squared. Do you expect Asha to retain the Phil S style of game studio management, or do you think she's the type to come in and tell Rare that it's time to make the new Banjo game? I don't think anybody's coming in and telling Rare to make a Banjo game, unfortunately, for my Banjo bros. I think the Banjo dream is dead.
I
P.S.
think the only
Jez,
person who could make that happen is Matt Booty, and I don't think Matt Booty is a big banjo guy.
yeah. P.S. Jez, can you tell your contacts to make it possible for dynamic backgrounds to be set on a rotation of different ones? Please and thank you.
Oh,
Well, that'd be interesting.
I will
Where it cycles
I will
through it.
do that.
Yeah. I don't know.
That's how I've got my Windows set up, so that
Do
makes
we do
total
we
complete
think
sense.
Asha's really gonna have a lot of hand in game development, or she's just gonna be like that's Matt Booty's sort of jurisdiction, so to speak?
Yeah, I think really like all up, it's going to be probably even more so than before. Matt Booty is going to dictate the direction of the game studios, like because you have to remember Matt Booty had Phil's old job because that was Phil's old job to be involved in the games and shape that, but that's like way out of Ash's remit. So or at least their expertise or whatever. Um, so I would expect more than ever. It's Matt Booty's universe. So, I suppose if I do end up going to LA this year and Matt Booty will be there, presumably at the June showcase, I will I will press him on the banjo thing. Because I know banjo bros are passionate people.
Mm-hmm.
But what game, Rand, would you ask Matt Booty to revive if you could, if he gave you opportunity to ask for one game? For you specifically.
Uh
Is there anything from Xbox's past you think has a potential in today's marketplace?
I mean, it wouldn't even be for myself really, but I do feel like a Viva Pinata game would work in today's world, I
In the
guess.
vein of that what is it, Pokio or
Yeah, like
whatever, the Pokemon.
Pokio and stuff. Like I feel like that, like a Viva Pinata game would work.
Mm.
I'm trying to think. I know people want to say Scalebound or whatever, but that game's staying dead. No banjo game. Is there any? Is
No
there
Banjo Bro.
anything? I don't know. It's not so much even that I want them to bring back, but I would love to see Coalition work on something that isn't Gears. You know,
Yeah, they're an incredibly
or
talented
like
studio.
or like Halo Studios work on like a Halo horror game, or something that's not just your regular old Halo, like Halo spin-off
Mm.
or something. But yeah, um, we got Silas who says, "Hey guys, with the discourse recently of AAA games need to cut costs, I think a bigger issue, especially after today's PS5 news, is that the console market is too expensive for the casual audience, which, despite the social media discourse, represents 95% of the console market. The reason that consoles have been a thing for decades is that they are affordable for most, despite having dated tech. The gateway to gaming now is mobile and freemium games. People don't need a console to play games anymore." Well, I mean, that is true. The talk over the past few years is GTA 6 will drive console sales, but I don't think that's realistic. Sure, there will be a
Mm.
spike, but at minimum, it's going to be $600 for the console, 80-ish for the game, and want to play GTA Online, that's another $100 a year. So after taxes, you're a minimum of $800 for one game. And with gamers who started playing games in the 80s and 90s like Rand and myself, retirement is looming, and with it a fixed income with minimal disposable funds. I believe the console industry is fast becoming a hobby for the rich. What realistic plan would you guys have to steer the console market to be more mass market friendly?
Man, I mean that's $1 million question. I think if someone can work that out, they should be earning a lot of money. Because, like, I think we said earlier that this is the issue that the game developers themselves can't work out. But I've wrote an article about this before, and my viewpoint, this is specifically on console, is that they have to move towards being more multitudinal in their delivery of their experience. Like the common way that youngsters, and to be honest, myself, want to play these days, an increasing amount of people, they want dual monitors. They want to have like their text-based chat programs on the left monitor and a game on the right monitor. And the fact that Xbox and PlayStation can only sort of single task, and Nintendo Switch can only single task, I genuinely think that is like an underrated weakness of these platforms in a universe where people have less attention span than ever. Like this entire podcast, I've been playing World of Warcraft. The entire podcast, because I can't just sit there and do one thing. And like sometimes when I'm like in a call with family and friends and stuff, they'll be like, they'll hear me clicking or something, and they'll be like, "Are you playing a game while we're in a call?" I'm like, "Yeah, kind of." I can't like, and I'm kind of like, I'm not speaking for everyone here because I'm sure there are people out there who've still got an attention span, and that's fantastic for you. But I think there is just this sort of general shift towards like wanting to do multiple things at once because there is such a dilution of attention spans now. Um, so I do think that like one way at least that they can look at trying to make these devices more mass market is to make them more PC like, which is what Microsoft is doing. And if like maybe if you can promise a PC like experience where you can do multiple things with it, like maybe you can do your homework on the next Xbox, or maybe you can turn it into a streaming box and become a streamer or a content creation platform, or have like 10 chat apps open like a WhatsApp and Telegram and whatever else and Instagram at the same time as playing a game. I do think that goes some way into sort of bringing people back into the fold by aligning with what the expectations are these days for their online experience, because it isn't just about the gaming experience anymore. It's about the experience of doing multiple things at once with your free time. Um, at least that's me. I know Rand sits there in his rocking chair with his book and doesn't do anything else because Rand's got like the focus of a I don't know, a Tibetan monk or whatever. But
Hmm.
I don't think that's most people anymore. I think most people have got their attention spans have been fried by
Sure,
10 years,
TikTok and
20
stuff.
years of non-stop social
Well, I
media interaction.
mean, this uh, the answer may be like maybe it's like Silas says, maybe console game is just going to be for the rich, the people that can afford it. I mean, that
The rich
sort
and
of
powerful,
seems like if the prices
or
keep on escalating and we're even getting even more, where like the base price to get in is $800. At that point, it's like, have you just ceded the entire market to Nintendo? Because Nintendo's never really going to get up to that price point. Um,
I never.
and like you already have an issue with younger gamers being all about Roblox and not really caring about the PlayStation brand or the Xbox brand. And freemium games and mobile phones are just ubiquitous everywhere, and everybody has an iPhone, and everybody has iPads and shit. So, I mean, you hate to sort of say it, but maybe console. I know there's always articles. There was articles about it during the 360, like, oh, the consoles are done and they're over or what have you. But maybe because of the economic uncertainty and all this shit, maybe we actually reached that point where instead of being mass market, they're now just going to be heavily niche focused on a segment of the audience that does spend the games, and they'll try to make as much money as they can before that audience kind of all
Guys,
sort of retires. Honestly, I don't know. I mean, because it's like, what do you need to do? We need to lower prices, but can you lower prices? Doesn't really seem like it. So
mm.
is the solution just to maybe the solution is just to ditch hardware and just put your games everywhere and hope that lands. But I mean, there's
It's hard.
they say this. You say that with like, oh, like the hardware for the console getting expensive, but even with PC is constantly growing. But then there's a lot of different entry points on PC. Like, yeah, sure, it's like super expensive if you want to get a 5090 or something, but you can still get a pretty good PC for cheaper. And it seems like that's sort of being the entry point for a lot of younger people. Maybe they see their favorite streamer on PC, so they skip the whole console and they go right to PC.
But like it's a similar thing to our mobile phones discussion of the past, where it's like you can do more things with your phone. Feel people will spend more on a phone because they feel like they need it for multiple things. People will spend more on a PC because you can do more with it than just game. And I think like one of the things, like I suppose with Helix, is their logic is, well, if we make it so you can do more things with it, it might be more value. It might drive more value just by virtue of that fact alone. So maybe we
Maybe.
can charge more because it becomes more than a console in that universe, you know. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's a tough time for consumer tech, and but maybe, like Sam Altman says, AI will solve everything, and maybe robots will come up with a new, more efficient way of having RAM, and components will suddenly become really cheap because maybe if AI figures out a way for you to be able to grow RAM in your greenhouse in your garden or something out of some kind of spore that you've bought from eBay. I don't fucking know. This is sci-fi bullshit, bro. But they promise us the world with this AI bullshit, and so far all it's done is produce cat memes. So I don't know. Were you sad when Sora shut down Rand?
No, I laughed.
You laughed.
I
Yeah,
laughed. I laughed. We got
I
a
laughed.
question here from Shay Elephant who says, "Hey Rand Jez, hope all's good. My question is, how is putting the PS5, Nintendo Switch, Steam logos in the Xbox Partner Showcase beneficial to the Xbox ecosystem and Xbox players? I can understand if it's a first-party showcase, but Xbox makes nothing here if people buy third-party games on other platforms. As I don't have an MBA nor marketing degree, are there any business reasons and benefits that I'm not seeing here? Thank you guys." I think there's zero benefits, realistically. I think this was all put in place because Microsoft was going multi-platform, and I mean, Phil even talked about it as like, we don't want to hide the fact that these games are coming elsewhere, you know, and I think that was put in place because of it. But when you look at it, like, your question is like, how does it benefit them? It doesn't. And the only thing I can see it benefiting is maybe their relationships with developers. of being like, yeah, we bring your game there. We'll put your game on the show as long as you can tell people it's coming to Steam or it's coming to PlayStation. But otherwise, what's the benefit to you? They're not PlayStation and Nintendo aren't doing it for to reciprocate for it. So there's like zero benefit. But hey, they're gonna do what they're gonna do. I think it's a small change that they should change because I don't know. I don't know if any of your sources or any have ever come out and said, "Hey, this is why we do it because of this," or maybe I don't know. Maybe it's an altruistic thing where it's like we just want everything to be great and work together, and the industry should just come together and just love each other. And oh, wouldn't it be so great? Like, yeah, in a perfect world, absolutely. In a perfect world, all the games were on all the consoles, and you could just choose which system you wanted to be on. And every showcase ended with exactly where the games are. But guess what? We don't live in a perfect world. And when 2 of the 3 console platforms aren't putting the Xbox logos in their showcases, why the hell are you? I don't know.
Yeah. I think it's just kumbaya, isn't it? Kumbayaism.
Yeah, I guess. I got Chris, who says, "Hey guys, hope you're having a great show thus far. Jez, well done last week on saying Wuthering Waves might become an Xbox soon. It's almost like you might have known a thing. Lol."
I genuinely didn't.
You dastardly Jez.
Nah, I really didn't. I just saw like there was
like a beta thing or something, right? Where it was
in the launch for the game, like someone data mined it and they found Xbox references, so it kind of leaked like that. It was data mining. I honestly didn't know. I asked their PR team, because they put out a press release. Was it last week or the week before? Talking about a new update for Wuthering Waves, and I replied like, "Okay, that's cool. So when's it coming to Xbox?" And they didn't reply. So no, I definitely didn't know it was coming to Xbox. I can't pretend that I did.
Because my question is for you, Jez. As many people seem to be very pleased with what feels like a change of direction for Xbox with Asha in charge, and she's certainly saying the right things and making some of the right moves. What's confusing to me, though, is that over the past year or two, you talked a lot about how Phil was getting top-down pressure from Microsoft and Satya in particular to increase profit margins in ways that seem to be a factor in him and Sarah making some clear missteps with communication at the very least, if not the business strategy. Why is it now that Asha's in charge, the pressure from Satya almost seems like it's gone? Instead of pushing for higher profits, she's talking about investing in the future and making more user-friendly decisions. Perhaps I'm just cynical, but something seems very off that not just Xbox has taken a new direction, but suddenly big Microsoft is more lenient seeming with them in a way that feels contradictory to how all of that was handled when Phil was in charge. I'm curious if there's something I'm missing because those kinds of strange behaviors in major corporations always make me assume something else is coming. Well, at least the showcase was solid this week, and Osiris Reborn and Hades 2 to Game Pass are exciting. Hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. Really appreciate the show. And you know what? I sort of agree with Chris.
No, he's completely right.
I mean,
something has changed at Microsoft.
So,
I don't know if you saw right, but was it? I think it was last week or maybe earlier this week. Microsoft put out a big blog post on the Windows side, where they basically admitted that over the last couple of years, Windows has gone downhill, and they're kind of like, we hear you, we want to fix it, we're going to get rid of the AI, we're going to add all these new features that you've been asking for, we're going to focus on polish, we're going to reduce RAM usage, all this kind of stuff, all the complaints that people have had about Windows. So like, it's not just Xbox that's seen a change of heart, it's Windows as well. And I think like one of the things that I think a lot of commentators have overlooked recently is that Satya's job role actually changed in November, December, where Microsoft hired a new C-suite executive whose job it would be to oversee some more of the business aspects, to take some of the responsibility off Satya. And Satya's moved into more of he's still the CEO, but he's taken a more hands-on approach to in a sort of more like producer kind of role with a focus on quality, because I do think like they've identified that the way they'd been structured and running the business, which was essentially like leading with the finance team, essentially like saying you've got to deliver these kind of margins, and like Phil, being ambitious kind of person that he is, he wants to, and you know, a good corporate soldier, he wants to deliver those margins, right? Um, so I think like part of it is like Satya and the ELT realizing that the C-suite, they got it wrong, you know, and it's not just like Xbox, it's also Windows, it's other parts of the business, it's the security layer of the business too. Like Azure has had a few high profile hacks over the last couple of years, and Satya actually said like our security regime wasn't good enough, you know. So it's there's been a refocus on quality across the board, and you often see this in big corporations. I've noticed, like you see this in EA sometimes. There's often this push and pull with like shareholders and customers. They get like for a little while they seem to focus on shareholders and margins and monthly active users and that kind of thing. And you can see this in like the way Satya has spoken over the last couple of years to shareholders. It went from like blockchain, it went to metaverse, and then it went to, you know, and now it's artificial intelligence. And there was all this focus on like saying the right things that would hype up the shareholders and whatever. But it came at the cost of the customers and the user base. So it's come at it's their sort of their focus has done so much damage on Windows, you know, Surface 2 and Xbox, that now they've kind of realized like, okay, we fucked up here. We went too hard in one direction and now we have to pull it back. So it's not just Xbox, it's the whole all of Microsoft seems to have had a sort of like a change in direction. Like the team they've put together to fix Windows is it's like a dream team. They've pulled together like some of the best developers that Windows has ever had. They've pulled them together into like this sort of amazing task force, and it's even got a code name and everything. It's like, we're gonna make Windows amazing. You know, that's kind of like their mission, and it's all of it's the whole thing's a focus on quality. So I think like it's a what we're seeing with Xbox is part of a wider culture change at Microsoft, which, you know, is a long time fucking coming, to be quite honest with you. If you've been watching like some of the editorials been putting out over the last couple of years, like covering all this bullshit. You know, it's been exhausting, man. You know, watching them fuck everything up. But it does feel like they got to a point where they just realized we're too far now and we need to pull it back. And, you know, proof over promise, like Asher says. We'll see how it goes, you know. We'll see how it goes.
We will. Yeah, I'm cynical when it comes to Satya.
Yeah,
Very
I'm cynical
cynical.
too. He's got a lot for me, Satchi's got a lot to prove. He shut down Windows Phone, bro.
Yeah, well, that's a smart decision.
No,
Uh,
no, what?
I said what I said. Live with it.
I hate you.
Lay Junie. Sorry if I said your name wrong. Hey, Rand and Jez. I've seen an article on GameSpot about us this summer potentially lowering Game Pass costs by adding an ad-based tier or adding a Netflix bundle, according to Netflix executive. What do you guys think Xbox will change to the current Game Pass tiers and strategy? Personally, I just want Xbox to change the Ultimate tier to have one choosable free tier sub instead of being just given Fortnite Crew for Ultimate, since I don't play Fortnite. It would be nice for Game Pass Ultimate to allow me to have Fallout First, since I play Fallout 76, and having Fallout First perks would be really convenient for me. Yeah, I mean, we talked a little bit about that. About like, oh, what if you could just build your own Ultimate bundle and choose? And if you didn't choose, it'd be cheaper. Like, I don't want Fortnite Crew, and I don't want Ubisoft Classics or whatever it is. So it's like
I don't even want cloud anymore. Now I've got the Xbox Ally, I don't need cloud
Yeah, I
anymore.
mean, I wouldn't want cloud, so I'd be like, but I mean, to think that they would actually let you build your own a la carte bundle, because they know most people probably wouldn't include those extra things that they already paid for. So, I mean, I think a bundle with Netflix would be great. I don't know if it'd be one of those stupid things where it's like you sign up to like Netflix or whatever, and you get like 2 months of. I feel like I don't know, like it really would have to be integrated into Netflix. You know what I mean? Like you turn
Yeah.
on your Netflix account and you have like access to Game Pass, but then how would that even fucking work? I have no idea. You know, I mean, I know you can play games through your Netflix stuff, but they're all like really simplistic games and things like that. But an ad-based tier is probably something that needs to happen and is happening. I mean, you look at all the streaming tiers; they all have an ad based tier that's for cheaper. So that'll happen. Um, yeah, I don't know. I just maybe I'm on the outside in looking. Maybe I'm just like not the right because like I don't want extra shit
I'm
for
on the
like what I want from Game
outside.
Pass is just day one games in the library. Like I don't want or need any of the extra bullshit that they can apply on top to make it. We're including value. I mean, Special Nick can talk about Fortnite Crew all day, and I guess it's like, hey, if you play that stuff, that's awesome. But for those of you who don't play any of that stuff, it feels like I'm paying for them. You know,
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
it's like before it was all right. I'm on Ultimate because I want day one games, and even before that, it wasn't even like because day one was also on previous other tiers. But it was like you knew exactly what you wanted and why you were here. But now they're adding all this extra stuff that you may not use, and I'm just like, I feel like I'm wasting my money, and I feel like I'm subsidizing someone else's enjoyment, which
Mm.
maybe that's a bad thing to say, but it really does seem like it. Like I'm never going to play Fortnite. I'm never going to use Fortnite Crew, and my money's going to that so somebody who's playing Fortnite can do that. Like that's bullshit, you know?
I really think the build your own bundle needs to be the way forward.
That would be great. I would love that. Good old Collinwood says, hello, Rand and Jez. I'm in Japan, so here is a Japan-specific question. This week,
Ooh.
Kotaku posted an article about 10 things you should never say to a World of Warcraft fan. So given that Jez is a World of Warcraft enthusiast, would you, Rand, dare say these things to Jez? Horde or Alliance? You can just fly. It's a game for no-lifers. Taurens have lower speed. Molten Core was made in a week.
Oh my
Seeding
God, yeah.
raids and dungeons is a thing. Have you beaten it yet?
Man.
Red quests give more XP. PvP is
Oh
balanced,
man.
actually. World of Warcraft is a dead game. I mean, I would say all those things to Jess. No problem.
Oh, this is harsh. But all those things are hilarious. Yeah. You know Molten Core? Molten Core was the
No
first
idea what
raid in
Molten
WoW,
Core.
right?
No idea.
It was the first raid in WoW. It's literally just basically a textureless cave with nothing in it. And a bunch of mobs that were already mobs you fight throughout the rest of the game. And then Ragnaros, a cool boss at the end. So like it was like the very definition of made in a week. But I tell you, man, I became a man in that place, bro.
Mm.
That's where I became a man. Molten Core, bro. 20 years ago. I fucking can't.
All
Oh
right, we
man.
have Panda Man who says, "Hey guys, hope the week is going well. I am in the target market for the Helix, but not in the same way as everyone else. I have a PC, which is not my primary gaming device, and would love a companion device to play on the TV with my library. Steam is the direct competitor here, so it'll be interesting how it all shakes out. If they can have the Series S type of console with next gen, I'll be all in. Are they building multiple SKUs? Here's to being a White Sox and Xbox fan. Oh man, rough. Sox fan, Xbox fan. Oh, I mean, are they building multiple SKUs? I mean, they themselves probably aren't, but that's not to say the OEMs aren't. Won't be, right?
Well, it's interesting because I've heard some conflicting information on this more recently. Is the kind of idea that maybe they might explore double SKUs, I don't know for sure. Like I've only ever heard about one SKU, but it is a rumor that I keep seeing pop up every now and then, which makes me wonder, is there something more to this? Um, but one thing I know for sure is that OEMs will probably pick up the tab with regards to um, the cheaper SKUs, the cheaper options. But at the end of the day, it is just going to be the Xbox mode on Windows, rebranded Xbox mode. So you could, in theory, just, one thing that I've also been looking into is this idea that they might let some OEMs, some GPU OEMs, actually make GPUs with the Magnus chip on it. So like you could make your own Xbox, like maybe a cheaper Xbox that you can build yourself, essentially, like with a sort of AMD shipping the graphics card or the APU or whatever onto you know graphics card by Asus or something like that. I don't know, but we'll see what happens. It's a brave new world for all that shit. I think it's going to be interesting to see how it shakes out.
We have Bial, who says, "Hey guys, hope you're doing well. I've been playing a lot of Crimson Desert, Rand. I think you should give it a try. I have zero desire to play Crimson Desert, bro. I've watched videos, I've talked to people who really like it. Not for me, man. I have a feeling you really like it. It's giving me Elden Ring, Skyrim vibes sometimes. I mean, I'm happy you're enjoying it, and happy everybody else is, but watching that stuff and just seeing the trailers and the gameplay vids, not for me. My question to
You
you
can do a knock
guys,
KO.
what? Yeah,
You can
awesome.
do a knock
It would
KO.
be awesome to do one time, and then it would be boring after that. My question is to you guys: is that as we saw in Jez's article earlier today, Asha Sharma is actually the one who killed this Xbox campaign. It wasn't just change the marketing campaign, but completely getting rid of it entirely, which I think is a pretty big deal, honestly. Well, my question is for this week is we've already seen some major changes that she has done, like getting rid of this Xbox campaign or, trying to make moves with Netflix. What additional strategic shifts are you guys expecting over the next coming 6 to 12 months? I, for one, see some major changes coming to Game Pass. And do you think when Xbox Helix releases, we all know it's going to be a pretty expensive console, and as we just saw that Sony increased their prices significantly for the PS5, do you think since the focus has now shifted to console, do you think they can again, when the Helix releases, think of subsidizing the Series X and make that the de facto console to have going forward? Like take a loss in the Series X and make that the cheaper option for the ones to have since Helix will be pretty expensive? Thanks a lot, guys. Have a great weekend. Cheers. I don't think they're going to subsidize the Series X. I think that ship has sailed. So I mean,
Yeah, it's. I
think
think there is I think there is an outside possibility. This is what I would do, I suppose, if I was Microsoft. If they did want to have a box that was sort of baseline, just console, no PC stuff, maybe you look at subsidizing the diskless SKU. Because I tell you one thing that is underrated in the game industry is like um how much manufacturers are hating the disk drive right now. Because pretty much the only use case for disk drives now is the consoles, specifically the Xbox and the PlayStation. So a lot of companies just want to completely give up on this shit, and no longer rely on. They see the writing on the wall that this is a doomed business, and it is a doomed business. Like retail sales go down constantly, and it kind of sucks for people who do like physical, right? But it is a trend that's inevitable, and in a universe where every cost cut is being looked at and considered, this drive is low hanging fruit. So I do think if they were going to do that, it'd probably be like the diskless Xbox Series X SKU, the white Xbox Series X, and but increasingly, I think they really want to move everything to PC because um, making sure that they have a good experience on PC is becoming increasingly important in a universe where even Google is trying to explore, you know, making a PC gaming store, which they'll probably shut down in a couple of years. But what if they don't? It's worth. It's not a risk worth taking. Like so yeah, I don't know. It's something to investigate. It's something I'm still trying to investigate. Like I've already spoke to a few sources about like how will you keep the hobby from pricing people out, especially like people you've bought in via the Xbox Series S, because a lot of like, especially in countries where there's huge tariffs on electronics, tariffs or taxes on electronic consumer goods. It's kind of like the Series S was like a savior in some regions, and if there's not going to be an upgrade path for them, it kind of sucks, right? So
yeah.
I suppose we'll see.
I mean, as far as what she can do the next 6 to 12 months, I don't know. I'm kind of on the same way. I can't wait to see what she does. If she is it all going to be good? Is it going to be kind of some bad mixed in with the good? I know that there's going to be a microscope on a lot of her moves, and I think, like you mentioned, she's already done some good stuff. Getting rid of this as an Xbox campaign, I think most people are like, "Yep, that's a pretty good decision." And it kind of shows. I mean, because a lot of people had problems with that, so it shows that she's in tune with everything, but then it makes you sort of question like what were Phil and Sarah and the marketing team doing there that was like something that was seen as okay, especially when what was the quote that they gave you? That it didn't feel like Xbox, right? Right.
Didn't feel like Xbox.
It's like, okay, well, we'll see what she does. I mean, I don't know. Like any sort of like big changes would take a long time. You know, like any sort of software stuff would take like years, like game wise or what have you. Um, you know, things with Game Pass. I mean, is this new Game Pass tier Triton? Is that something that Asha wanted to do, or is that something that's been in the works for a bit and it's finally kind of like, all right, now it's kind of hitting.
Fruition. I will say this. I will say this. Before we even knew Phil was retiring, I did hear that. I think I even said on the show that they were looking at ways to boost the value of Ultimate. And one of the things I was told they were looking at was merging in some of the subscriptions, like a World of Warcraft and whatever. But I wasn't given like hard details on that. But now this new tier is appearing, which seems quite granular. It does make me think if there was a plan of letting people build their own bundle, like if I don't want Fortnite Crew, let me put Warcraft in there instead. You know, I do. It's just logical, man. The more I think about it, it's just logical.
All right. John says, "Hey, Rand Jez, do you think that the PlayFab Foundation mode offered to potential developers offering free tools might increase the amount of games released for Xbox and maybe encourage developers who have skipped Xbox in the past to support the platform? I mean, it can't hurt, right? You're giving all those free things. Certainly, it's not going to chase anybody away from the platform, and it's definitely an enticing thing to offer them. The question is, would companies rather use their own, or there other better competitors to PlayFab that they could use? I mean, it sounds like a good thing, but we'll see if a lot of devs pick it up and use it.
I mean, I don't want to be cynical, right? But there is another aspect of the cloud business here, which is worth mentioning. So I don't know, like one big issue with the cloud business, right? And this is like the entire cloud business, is this idea of idle servers, right? It's if you've got like millions of dollars in servers and any of them are idle for any period of time for any reason, you're pretty much losing money because those servers will depreciate pretty quick. They get burned out, they have to be replaced, they have to be upgraded, right? So if you are a Microsoft who has invested a mountain into infrastructure right now, and any part of that infrastructure is not being used constantly, and I mean 24/7, it has to be being used, that's bad economics. So cynically, for Microsoft, it's a win-win situation because they can keep their cloud inference high while also offering like something pretty valuable to like especially like smaller devs and things like that. And if you do sort of get your devs addicted to PlayFab and just like it becomes part of their workflow, and then you can upsell them on like a higher package tier, like or whatever, then again, it's sort of like a virtuous cycle for them. So while it does sound on paper like it's like, oh, this is like really, really altruistic what they're doing, it's actually just really good business. It's really smart, and it's also crucial to for the cloud business to make sure everything that they've got is constantly in use. So, yeah, I don't know. But I don't know how good PlayFab is. I haven't really spoke to any devs that use it. I know Sea of Thieves uses it, of course. I think Rainbow Six Siege uses it too. So there's like some like pretty massive games that are on that platform. Um, but you know, it's kind of like anything Microsoft does in the space. There's a lot of competitors, and maybe other developers prefer like some of the other stuff that's out there. But it can't hurt, I think, like Rand says.
Yep. Goggles Lens says, "Hey guys, I had an interesting problem this week. Me and my friend are playing through all the Halo games, and we are taking them one at a time. I'm playing on Xbox PC app, and he's on Steam. So when I went to install MCC, it was 136 gigabytes ish. But for my friend on Steam, the installation for Halo 3 counts as a DLC and is like 20 gigs. So when I went into the game, and I can pick what to install and bring it down. The strangest thing is that I did pick just to install Halo 3 before installing, but all of the installs were 10 megabytes. When I went into the game to uninstall all the extra stuff, they were locked for playing. So all the 10 megabytes did is lock you out of playing, which is strange. Not that this was all that big of a problem if you have the space, but it's just another difference between Xbox, PC, and Steam, with the exact same game, no less. For Project Helix happening, I think they need to look over all the things like this, that just makes Steam look much better. Even if it means just straight up copying features from Steam, if it means it's better for the end user. What do you guys think of comparing Steam to Xbox PC? Steam that normally wins that comparison. I mean, I think it wins all the comparisons, right? Then Xbox copying that feature of competition's sake, and then they're both better for it. Like, is there anything that Xbox PC does better than Steam? I mean, I don't know. I honestly don't know. Like, I don't use PC, so I'm asking as like a legit. Is there anything like a PC user would say that but outside of like Game Pass and being able to like do that,
Well, that's it. That's
does it
the
do
only
anything
the
better?
only thing really. The only thing really is Game Pass and Play Anywhere. So if you're in the Xbox ecosystem already, you already own like hundreds of Game Pass games potentially, but otherwise, no. Steam is pretty much better at everything, and this whole like version mismatch thing where the Steam versions of games are better. That's like an ongoing thing that's been true for like a really long time, and is frustrating. I was like before like Obsidian blacklisted me. I was kind of like I was working with their QA team on bugs with the Xbox Play Anywhere version of Pillars of Eternity because the Xbox Play Anywhere version was broken. It was like straight up broken, and it would spawn previous items from the previous screen in the next screen. So like that overlap over time and it accumulate to the point where you couldn't click on anything. Um, so I was like trying to, I was sending them save files to try and help diagnose that kind of thing because the Steam version was completely fine, which is like frustrating as hell. But I'd say those issues are eventually over time going to become a thing of the past, especially when the developer environments kind of like coalesce and merge together. So while it'll probably be a problem for a lot of games in a historical context, over time it'll become like better and better and better, and then it'll be an issue that we no longer really talk about because it won't be an issue anymore. But then it's not like they're gonna go back and fix old games. Like if there's like a code freeze on it, they ain't gonna touch that shit anymore. Only if like they release like a new version of the game, like a re-release or something. That's the only time you'd see those games get any upgrades or updates, in my view.
All right. Let's see. Pat Rock says, "Don't you think it's funny people think Xbox is dying when they are one of the largest AAA platforms? They are still getting more support than Switch 2, and I don't see Madden 2K COD players switching to the Switch. Are they right about Xbox dying, or are they just trying to will it into existence? It's been the same song and dance for 13 years. As a user of the platform, it's very infuriating. And honestly, I thank you so much, Jess, for being the light at the end of the tunnel sometimes with your Windows Central articles."
I appreciate that, man. But I know I completely agree. That's a lot of people, a lot of commentators and journalists are genuinely just willing it to happen. I don't think if you actually like, you don't like, you're telling me that Microsoft beats Nintendo and Sony on game releases and beats them on Metacritic, and simultaneously somehow they're also dying. Like the whole narrative around Xbox and it dying is something we've been talking about since we started this podcast.
Isn't it more like,
I feel like.
isn't it more around like the console side of it is declining to a
No,
certain...
no, 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 no,
I mean,
no.
I think
They
some
say
of it
they say
is.
things. They say things like Microsoft's going to shut down Xbox. They
Sure,
say
sure,
things
sure.
like they're going to spin them off or sell them to Saudi Arabia and all this kind of stuff. Like that all these kind of ridiculous notions, or like Microsoft doesn't care about it, and it's just none of it is true. Like it's all just completely made up. And especially if you look at like the things Satya said internally, if you look at things like the things Satya said internally to Xbox staff, that he's not painting the picture of a dude who's ready to get out of the industry.
No. I
He's
mean, I definitely do think there's people that would love Xbox to go away. Like, they hate covering it because they don't play on the platform for sure. That would want it to go away.
definitely.
But I also think some of that, like the whole some of it, the Xbox is dying thing is centered around the console because everything is focused through the console and console sales and all those sort of things. And Xbox is like, declined for 3 straight years or whatever it's been, and then the whole multi-platform push and the non-exclusivity for things, it did seem like people were looking at like, well, Xbox is just basically a publisher at this point because the console no longer exists, and people didn't believe they were even going to do another one. And now that they are doing another one, it's like, okay, well, it's not actually going to sell very well, so they're already kind of backpedaling and moving the goalposts on that one. It's like, yeah, probably it ain't going to sell no 50 million, that's for sure. It's probably not even going to sell as much as the Series X and S. But, I don't know. People have been saying that for a while. I mean, I'm sure it'll be around for another 10 years and they'll still be saying it again. So it is, I don't know. I just, whatever. I don't really even give it that time of day as much anymore. People love to say that stuff on social media so they can get their 50-cent check from Elon for the engagement, or for their slop tubing, where they just they just turn on the camera and just basically stare at Twitter and just read other people's comments and make a 15-minute video about it, and so they can just squeeze some revenue off of it. It's like, all right, whatever. You can't stop it.
I think Xbox will survive, and I think we'll still be doing the podcast in 10 years.
Last Horizon says, hey guys, a few months ago I wrote in asking if anyone experienced crashes on the Series X while playing Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. At the time, I decided to stop playing and wait for a patch, assuming it was a game issue. However, now I'm starting to think it might be a problem with my console. Resident Evil 9 is also crashing in a similar way, every 10 minutes, just like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 did. I've already taken the Xbox apart and cleaned the heatsink and fan, but that didn't fix anything. Does anyone have any idea where certain games would consistently crash my system while others run fine? Footage at a GPU issue?
No, this is interesting because I've been DMing with someone who's having exactly the same issue with Resident Evil 9, where it keeps crashing every 10 minutes. And if you look in the reviews for Resident Evil 9, there's a lot of people also complaining about it crashing every 10 minutes, even though, like, when I played it, I didn't get a single crash. So I do think there might be... Yeah, it didn't crash on me either. So I do think there is some kind of issue. And can you DM me on Twitter and let me know if you've got an external hard drive plugged in? Because one rumor I've heard is that external USB hard drives might be causing some kind of issue with regards to some games. It's a weird one, but it's something I'll try and diagnose with the Xbox team, because it does seem to be something that's a thing right now. So yeah, DM me on Twitter and we'll look into checking it out together.
Yes, there we go. Rave Damos says, hey, Rand and Jez, Microsoft has a long history of being ahead of the curve, even if the industry takes a while to catch up. With AAA development budgets spiraling towards $300 million, it feels like we are seeing another shift in Xbox strategy toward more sustainable, focused projects. I look at games like Pentiment with its niche art style, the surprise reveal of Kiln, and even the massive success of Grounded, Avowed, South of Midnight. They feel like high-quality, creative AA or single-A games that aren't trying to be everything to everyone. Do you think Microsoft is intentionally leaning into this scope because the traditional AAA model is becoming unsustainable? Is this a deliberate move to fill Game Pass with unique, manageable products that can take creative risks, rather than just chasing the next massive Halo or Gears? Keep up the great work, and sayonara.
It is uniquely interesting that Microsoft does keep, putting out games like Pentiment, but also like the Clay, what's it called? The Clay game. From Double Fine. Kiln, yeah. It is interesting that Microsoft keeps doing this, like in a time where like others are, fleeing from that kind of game. I don't know, obviously, for sure, like if this is like a genuine strategy they're putting together, or just incidental of the fact that Microsoft wants creative stuff. Like I did ask Matt Boot in my interview with Microsoft when, the changing of the guard happened. I said something along the lines of like, under this new regime, should some of Microsoft's smaller studios worry about their jobs and things like that? Like, are we moving towards a universe where, only the biggest AAA games have a future at Microsoft and whatever? And Matt Booty was pretty adamant that smaller games are really crucial to Game Pass, and making sure they've got a large variety, and also allowing their studios to flex their creative muscles is a really like healthy thing for them. And also, they he said something like every big thing started off as a small thing, which I quite liked. It was kind of like this idea that um you know you never know what the next big viral mega hit will be. So like allowing their studios to experiment on smaller games which could potentially go viral, boosted by Game Pass or whatever. I think like that's part of the mentality which drives them into letting their studios make little smaller games which can be insulated using the Game Pass money. Because Phil's told me himself that like they see Game Pass as a content fund. You know, it's almost like you subscribe on Patreon and then you get stuff for it. That's kind of like also what Game Pass is for. Is like we subscribe to Game Pass and they use the money to experiment and do some of these smaller projects. So yeah, I don't know. I think we'll see more of it based on what Matt Booty said, but um I don't think it's necessarily them being like AAA gaming's too expensive. I think it's just them wanting to have a variety of opportunities, you know, because I do think like I do think we've got to a point where games either have to be like small, cheap, and quirky, like $10 or free, or they have to be like absolutely massive mega banger hits. You know, because we all saw the reports about the Outer World. I think like the Outer World kind of sat in this middle ground where it was like it wasn't cheap, it was full price, and it was even going to be even higher priced. But at the same time, it wasn't quite reaching that AAA quality bar that people kind of wanted the sequel to have become. So maybe it's like the AA games that suffer more so than the little smaller games. But I don't know. Speculating. It's all speculation.
Speculation. Um, yeah. We got let's see here. We got Tim Super Chat says, I just want to ask Jez, when do you think the Xbox PC store becomes more like Steam and getting all the big AAA games day one? And do you think they will end up add upcoming game tabs so you don't have to go to the Microsoft store? Uh,
Well, see, this is funny because you actually don't have to go to the Microsoft store. If you go, there is a store tab on the Xbox PC app, and this is exactly the issue. Like people don't even know it exists. Like you have to go like to the store tab on the Xbox PC app and then scroll down a bit, and there's the upcoming game stuff. This is part of the problem, is that like discoverability and usability on that app is low. So I think until Microsoft can improve the app all up, not just like the quality of the app, the speed of the app, but also the structure of the app, it could be a while before we actually start to see organic traction. I think a lot of the games that are hitting there from a AAA perspective right now, they're either developers that have sort of um they've got some kind of like big marketing beat with Microsoft, or they've got a Game Pass bag, or there's a few that just genuinely believe in Game Pass, play anywhere, and just want to support it because they like it. But though those developers are probably few and far in between, right? Um, Either way, I think it will happen eventually because that's kind of like their strategy now. Um, it's just gonna take a little while, I guess.
yeah. Let me look at it again. Big AAA games on day one. I mean, presumably that'll happen when devs make games for Xbox through Helix. You know, and
Oh yeah, that too.
I mean, essentially, if you think like that, I mean, I know they can still make them for Series X and S, and they'll be playable back and pad on the machine. And I mean, that's sort of the question we've always had. Even though I've seen like, hey, like the GDC stuff, and it's like, if it's really that painless and easy to do that stuff, then it's like, all right, well, then there'd be no reason why you shouldn't just also have that game on there. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. It'll be on there because I think, like I said, cross gen's going to be a thing. They'll be making games for Series X and S, so they'll be there. I guess the question is like, will they be on the Xbox PC app? I mean, presumably with Play Anywhere and stuff. that's the sort of thing I sort of wonder. Like, is Xbox going to change up their contracts where it's like, hey, if you're publishing here, then like the games are play anywhere. So like there is this version is.
Mhm.
I don't know. It'd be interesting to really see how this all kind of comes together. Like
Mm.
like we mentioned, like Resident Evil Requiem. All the like previous Resident Evil games are kind of play anywhere, but Requiem comes out and it's not. It's not on the Xbox
Yeah, but
store.
they aren't. Like it's really inconsistent. Resident Evil 2 and 3 are, 4 wasn't, and then Resident Evil 7 was. I think Resident Evil 7 was the first one actually. Resident Evil 8 wasn't, and then Resident Evil 8 came retroactively when it joined Game Pass
Yep.
last month, and then Resident Evil 9 wasn't. It's really, really inconsistent, and it just shows that like
I
they'll only
I
do
sort
it
of
if they
wonder
get
if
the
it's like,
money.
are they contractually obligated? Because PlayStation did have the marketing rights to 8 and 9.
Mm.
Does that prevent them from doing any sort of Xbox Play Anywhere stuff?
Yeah, it might do.
But do they not
I
want to
do
do it
know that
because
there's
they
like,
rather have people double dip?
well,
Essentially,
here
I don't know.
there are issues with regards to that. Like I heard, for example, the marketing deal that PlayStation had with Crimson Desert meant that the Crimson Desert team could very, very rarely even acknowledge the fact that Xbox exists. So like there's still those marketing kind of deals going on, which again in that context makes it even funnier that Xbox would even bother to, you know, advertise competing companies' versions. But it's whatever. It's, it's the kumbayaism, right? Um, but yeah, there probably is marketing deals in place which kind of try to undermine some of Xbox's platform features, but I suppose them's the breaks, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
I think eventually, like, if Xbox PC does keep growing, and it is growing, they've they've got games that Steam doesn't have, like Roblox and Fortnite, for example. If it does keep growing, um, you could end up in a situation where it becomes too big to ignore for some devs. But we'll see if that actually happens.
Anyways, I think that's everything, right, Jez? Let me look again.
It sure is.
All right, so it is. Well, I think that's a good spot to end the show. Almost 4 hours, and get you out of here so you can do what you need to do. Because I know you're getting tired.
I'm not. I'm actually not getting tired.
You're
Let's
not
do
getting
another
tired.
2 hours.
No.
I got up at 4 p.m.
We
bro.
got marathon. we got cryo to go. We got marathon to play. Get some loot and stuff. But that's what I'll be playing. I'm thinking about maybe playing the Life is Strange reunion game. I'm still gonna play some Planet of Lana 2 and stuff.
Why don't you play World of Warcraft?
No, I'm not gonna do that. So thanks for hanging out with us, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, check out our sponsor, Surfshark.net, for a 2-year, 86% off 2-year deal. And don't forget our Patreon, patreon.com/XB2. All that stuff is in the description or linked in the comments. Appreciate any support that you may or may not give. We had a blast. It's always awesome hanging out with everybody on a Friday or Saturday or Monday whenever we do these things. Console gaming is getting pretty expensive. It's kind of sad in a way. It feels almost like an end of an era, where it's like, hey, this console's $700. Like you say it's like $650 or whatever it is, but with taxes that comes out to be over $700. And that's even without a game or an extra controller or any of the accessories. So I mean, like if you get a regular PS5 or a Series X, you're sitting there and it's like, okay, well, after taxes, we're looking at 700 something. And if I want a game, it's $70. It's like I'm almost at 800. Not to mention like subscription services and everything. It's like Jesus. It really is like it seems like if it's really starting to be for the wealthy almost in a way.
I said to you before the show, I've got a review unit here of a 4 terabyte hard drive that is literally, and I checked this during the show, it does retail for $900.
A 4 terabyte hard drive, Jesus.
4 terabyte NVMe fast, SSD kind of thing.
What happened to the game I loved?
Yeah,
right.
It's wild, bro.
What happened? Anyways, we'll be back next week. April. We'll see what's going on. Hope everybody has a fantastic weekend. And keep it gaming, everyone. Later.
Rock and roll, baby.